What's up, everyone? Hopefully this is working. It's been a while since I've used StreamYard actually for a stream. Um, Mostly using StreamYard because it's infinitely easier to have guests on and people jump in and out of the stream and stuff versus using other software like OBS and stuff. So I know this like super last minute. I like tweeted about this. I was going to stream a little bit later today, um, probably like 2 or 3 hours from now, but just something came up, so I couldn't stream later. So I was like, all right, I either need to stream now or it's not going to happen at all. So I figured I would just stream a little bit sooner, um, rather than just not at all, right? So that was kind of like my plan for today. So see, people are trickling in. Crazy Dan, first in chat today. Let's go. And like I said, let's go. Nice. Not getting any cooler in Arizona, in case you guys are wondering. And I don't know what the temperature is today. Let me see. Temperature in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's only 109 degrees today, or 43 degrees Celsius for you guys that don't live in the US. So it's pretty warm here, which is part of the reason why I went with the red, but also just like the market in general is just looking very red um, on the Vivi market. So we'll go ahead and that going. Delilah, what's up? Oh my gosh, Delilah, I watched that whole episode 10 like video or stream or whatever you want to call it, like that podcast. Very interesting. I listened to the whole thing while I was working out, and of course I put it on like 1.5 speed because I just I can listen obviously pretty quickly, or that's kind of how I live my life now on YouTube. I played most videos on at least like 1.5 speed just to get through it. Super interesting. Definitely left some fun comments, and I feel like I have a lot of jokes now. So only 109. Yeah, what's the weather like in Oh, it's perfect over there for you guys. It's like 83 degrees today over in Hawaii. Sorry, Hawaii. Yeah, 109 is pretty darn warm. Um, so Pixel Trader will be here probably in a few minutes. I figured I would just start the stream without him. He has the link to jump in the stream and all that stuff. So I will ask this: can you guys hear the music at all, or no? I would love to know if you guys can hear the music, or maybe once I do this, you guys might be able to hear the music. Let me know if you guys can hear the music. If not, I'll change some things. But I mean, it's hotter where you are. That's what I figured. I like jokes. I can laugh at myself, so bring them anyway. Yeah, I can't think of any like right now off the top of my head, but can't hear. Okay, let's try this. Let's try this. Might do it. Try this. All right, this way, then we'll try it one other way afterward. All right, what about this? Can you guys hear it now? Voice, this won't happen if you share a Chromecast. Okay. All right. Uh, Still no? Okay. One last, one last go. Try this. I wonder if this will do it. I don't want to change the song to. Yeah, faintly. Oh, okay. So I guess it does work. Oh well. It's weird because all the levels are way different if I use like Streamlabs or something like that. All right, regardless, I don't know, just looking at the market here real quick. No, yeah, faintly. I must be deaf. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just the music's super low. And it's weird because I don't have my usual streaming software because I don't have any audio levels to go off of. Like, I don't even know if music's playing or anything that's going on, but that's fine. Um, Regardless, yeah, there's a lot of things just kind of like pulling back right now. To be honest, I've very recently kind of changed my strategy on Vivi. I've gotten burned a lot on just like recent collectibles. I don't say burned like it didn't work out, but like I did buy like 2 Luke X-Wings. I don't know why I didn't sell one of these when it went up to 90. I thought it would kind of keep going, maybe push like 110, 120, but I got greedy and now I'm basically holding the bag on 2 of them. They're both at retail basically, or I mean, below retail at this point, because if you sell it, there's the fee that's involved. And on top of that, what are some other things I bought? I did sell a couple other things too. Same thing with Elsa. I'm like, well, you know, I'll hold Elsa because she's popular and this and that. You know, she's a full 13 gems below retail. I mean, she's 40% off at this point, basically, from retail price. So I don't know if that's just because she's not FA, or maybe the utility's already been used from her, basically the whole pencil utility. Maybe that's why she's dumping. Wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. So yeah, so she's getting pretty low in price as well. So I've kind of changed my strategy recently, and same thing with like Astro Boy. I mean, Astro Boy's below at this point. If you sell it, you're losing money. Like if you won this on drop, you're basically losing money. So I mean, if you love the collectible, you know, at the end of the day, it's like if you love the collectible, you hold it long term. If we're talking 2, 3, 4, 5, 6+ years, none of this really matters. But we're talking the short term, or I don't know about this song. Hold on. I have to just forget the music. What's happening here? Try this. At least like with Astro Boy, there was a lot of hype for Astro Boy, and he did go up to, I want to say 60 gems at one point. We could probably find out if we just go to VMate. Hide. Okay. One word. I think it's 2 words. Astro Boy. There he is. Yeah, he's pulled back quite a bit, and I think it's kind of getting to the point now where, until the Vivi-verse is fully launched publicly and people can actually start playing around with the collectibles, I think people aren't too interested in a lot of these toys that you kind of play with, right? Hey man, what's up, dude? Delilah? Delco, dude? He's here too? Let's go. Hello, Master of Vivi Vibes. Thank you, sir. Jimbo Lee Lingo. Still got your little... Dude, I have this in the back of my stream every time. It's kind of far, but dude, I still love this like Vivi logo, like plaque thing or whatever. It has everyone's autograph. David Dance, Alex G, Reese, and I had to get. I also had to get Corey's name too, because I think Corey's going to be with Vivi for a long time. I have a feeling, and obviously he's in a way kind of like the face of the channel. I mean, we see his face more often than anyone in the company. So I was like, you know what, I'll get his autograph too. You know what? I was literally just on Astro Boy and I clicked back. I was gonna look at it. Slobs, what's up, dude? What up, vibes? What's good? The only complaint I have, I like VMate. The only complaint I have about VMate is kind of the lack of customization, and just it does take a while for it to like load certain collectibles. I could have sworn this thing was up higher. It was 28. I'm not sure if this is entirely accurate. I could have sworn this thing went up to like 50 gems at one point, 50, maybe 60 gems. And according to this chart, it looks like it like never went above 30. So yeah, I'm not sure if this is completely accurate. Maybe it was just such a small window and everything happened within a day or two that this chart just didn't pick it up. But I do remember Astro Boy being at least a little bit higher than 32 at one point, and not way down here. A dip on recent pieces is just temporary. These will moon first as additions are low. Yeah, that's why I'm actually kind of I'm kind of selling off some pieces. I don't really care too much for, to be honest. Like, there's a period of time where I like loved these collectibles, where I'm like, it would be so cool in the Vivi-verse, but like, it just feels like so many of my collectibles that I've kind of picked up have pulled so far back that they're like no longer profitable. Not to say no longer profitable, but just in the sense of like, all right, maybe we have a little bit more time than we think. And same thing with like the airdrops, right? The airdrops with like, where's Thanos? Like Thanos has pulled back a lot in price. I think he's at 40 gems right now, and at one point he used to be a bit more. I don't have the secret rare Thanos, so I only have the ultra rare one. But okay, he's at 43 right now. He's gone up a little bit. But it's just one of those things where I feel like, unfortunately, the only people that are being rewarded with these airdrops are people that either land like the, you know, the secret rare and ultra rare of the drop. So if we're talking in Hulk terms, right? People that landed Planet Hulk and or Red Hulk, those are the people that are going to come out ahead and be profitable at the end of the day. But people that don't land it, and they like, even right now, I'm like, all right, I got 3 of the 4 Hulks. Should I chase the Planet Hulk? But that's 180 gems. Maybe after the airdrop, Planet Hulk will pull back to like 100 flat, so it's going to go down 80 gems. It still might be worth to get it, just because I did get Red Hulk for relatively cheap. Let's see, he's at 104 right now. I picked him up when he was at 71, 71, like on the way up. Happy Saturday! Thanks for the stream, of course. I need a chart guide to look at Omi. Pixel Trader can help with. I mean, he's more familiar with Omi than I am. Don't expect any like technical analysis, any of that kind of stuff. I mean, in some ways, like I kind of believe in it, and I don't fully, you know, I'm nothing like God's Entry or something like that. Like, I do watch this stuff a little bit, and I do learn a bit about it, but it's all just kind of looking at trends, right? And especially since all it takes is one tweet for something like Omi to basically pump, you know, 80% in like a week, 2 weeks. It's kind of hard to do technical analysis when like a single tweet could just completely flip the token or like the charts on its head, right? That's just my take on it. Take a look at what else. So I pass on the speeder. I did go for it on drop, and I wanted on drop, but I just passed. I did feel like this was going to be one that was going to go below retail, as well as not sell out on the store. There's just too much hype going on right now. Too much Omi hype, too much Red Hulk stuff going on. Also, Vivi kind of hinted at a... What was it? I think it's right here. There it is. Or Dr. Prophet stuff. But it looks like Vivi was hinting at essentially Avengers 1 comic, right? Where's that tweet? They delete it? Oh, it's right here. It's such a small tweet, but it's hard to see. I'm sure you guys can see it, but like a professor, glasses, thunder, ant, bee. I guess it's supposed to be a wasp, then a snake. A lot of people are wondering what it is, but I think it's going to be Avengers 1, which is cool, right? We're getting another Grail comic, which is awesome. A lot of people thought Harry Potter, and I thought it was too, because I was like, all right, it could be Harry Potter. And it's kind of like, but why do they put scientist though? They put like the scientist emoji versus like a normal kid, right? Because there's little kid emojis too, right? For like representing a either like a child or whatever. So, but like the ant and the bee just don't make sense for like Harry Potter. And the Slytherin, it's like okay with the snake, but I'm pretty sure it's just Avengers 1 with Loki. Exactly. Not enough exchanges and not enough. It's always going to be. I feel like Omi is always going to be a wild card because it's like the Omi or like, you know, it's the Ecomi token. They can change the OUP or like the utility however they want. Like if not enough people are buying Omi, or if not enough people are like staking Omi, and they like Vivi really wants it to work, they'll just change it. They'll just be like, oh yeah, by the way, if you stake this much Omi, now it's worth this many points. Now you get pay less than, you already pay less in fees. I mean, there's kind of the pre-look, right, of the Omi utility program. But Vivi will find a way to make things like MCP, OUP, or like staking OMI. They'll find ways to make it worthwhile. So that's the other kind of thing that kind of flips it on his head a bit, at least in my opinion, is that there's just like ongoing utility for OMI. And if Vivi wants to add a cool thing to OUP or whatever it is, they can do it. So that's why, at least for technical analysis on something like OMI, it's kind of hard. Like you can follow like general trends, but it's literally ever evolving. Oh yeah, with OMI, there's not enough trade or such volume to read the chart properly. Any small news can change the trend at the moment. Yeah, I think even if we did have a lot of traders, it would still change the trends, right? If anything, in a more drastic way, possibly. Alex Winters, one Hulk drop announcement, and if it looks good, read a new one, do a 1.5 or 2x. Yeah, it's going to really depend on what that Hulk airdrop looks like, right? If the Hulk airdrop, what I really hope is not the case. I really hope, I see the Hulk airdrop going one of two ways. Either one, it's going to be an FA, in some ways, maybe not a double FA, because we already have FA Hulk, but if we had FA Bruce Banner, who's animated with sound, transforms into the Hulk, he does the whole thing, that would be perfect. But I can also see another Hulk version where instead of Gray Hulk, it's like, all right, maybe we get like Professor Hulk, and maybe it's FA, or it's like maybe we get like a non-FA of a Hulk, and it's like not animated, and it's kind of lame. I don't know. I think with the way how well developed the current Hulks are, I think it's more likely the latter, where it's going to be like hopefully a cool animation. We get Gray Hulk. I don't know if Gray Hulk is technically different than like normal Hulk, and that's kind of hard to tell. Ives, what's up, Sleeping Comics? How you doing, dude? You excited? I mean, it's pretty much all but said, but it sounds like we're gonna get Avengers 1 on the app, which I'm excited for. I'm telling you right now, if there's any Avengers comics below, like, I'll probably start, like, I would be hard scooping if it's below 30. If it's below 20, obviously you just grab as many as you can, but below 30, 40, maybe a bit higher, because I feel like it's going to nestle in the realm of kind of like where these comics are at. What's that? 38 to 45. Comics. Common. Be a bit higher or a bit lower? Yeah, I feel like it's gonna like kind of nestle in this range. It entirely depends on how many mints too. If we're talking 10,000 mints, I could see it being somewhere in this range. 40 to 55 gems, maybe a bit higher. But if it's less, we're talking like 7,500 mints or 5,000 mints. Yeah, I could see that one getting up a bit higher, at least in my opinion. Where is oh man, really? Giant Size X-Men is pulling back all the way to 35, huh? Yeah, that one pulled back quite a bit. I'm not sure if the box price is going to matter too much, whether it's like 10 versus 20 gems. I have a feeling it's going to be a 20 gem drop. And even Hulk FA is down to like 37. Kind of surprising, but we are, there's I think there's comic and showrooms announcement somewhat around the corner. Market is just down because I think people are either cashing out or they're just liquidating for the Hulk drop, as well as some other things. Maybe people are actually cashing out for OMI. That could be part of it too. Avengers 1, 2,000 to 500K physical value, big comic book. Yeah, I think it's going to really depend on the mint size. I mean, there's comic books on Vivi that are worth more than others, right? Pretty sure like Journey into Mystery is worth significantly more than Giant Size X-Men, but for a long time these were basically like the same price. Now obviously Giant Size is a bit lower. But price prediction wise, it's kind of hard to say. It's somewhere in that range. That would be my take. Fun. All right. Yeah, I'm excited for Avengers. It's been a while since we've had like a Grail comic, right? When was the last like big comic we got on the drop. Maybe if I go to comics, does that show it in order? Yes, it does. Perfect. It's like the last like big, yeah, it's just Hulk. Hulk was the last big comic that we got. And this was on, why does it not say the date on here? It's kind of weird that sometimes the phone app shows more information than like the web browser. Like I'm just trying to see like when the drop actually happened, and I can't find it, at least on here. I mean, if he's actually lower market cap than Giant Size 6-month physical. Lower market cap, or I guess I was talking more of just the individual prices, not like the overall market cap. I think I have it. I used to have like a spreadsheet with the market cap of all the comics. I don't remember who I got this from, but it's actually like, you guys probably aren't going to get much out of it because it just looks like just a big mess. Remove that. Yeah, this is going by market cap. So Jim 83. Yeah, there's Giant Size X-Men up here. Yeah. At least I'm just going off these like higher end prices. At least according to this, I mean, Jim 83 is like 20, 30 times the price. Giant size, I don't know. Yeah, there's like price and then market cap and then like how many editions. But like, I mean, there's way less editions. I mean, there's actually only one edition at 9.6. Probably be better to look at like lower editions, but regardless. Not lower editions, but like lower grades. Similar thing with ASM 129. Yeah, exactly. It's hard to tell, but yeah, I'm just kind of curious. What's your guys' take? Are you guys going after the Hulk airdrop? I'm on the fence about it. Part of me is almost just kind of waiting to see what they actually announce for the airdrop, because if the airdrop looks fantastic, and it's like Bruce Banner FA with like the animation and sound, and he's like transforming into like Gray Hulk, and it's like a classic look, I'll probably end up just FOMOing into the Planet Hulk thing. And then honestly, probably flooring it. Like I like Hulk, but I'm not obsessed with it. But I am willing to buy the Planet Hulk for the airdrop. And to be honest, kind of floor everything. Because it seems like that seems to be the best move for every airdrop that's happened since, quite frankly, the beginning of Vivi, right? You know, you look at the Gauntlet, that's pulled back a ton. Thanos has pulled back a ton. I don't think of another airdrop like the potions and posters. That's kind of a different thing because those actually had a burn, and there's like very few posters that exist in general. I'm trying to think of another like collected airdrop that's happened somewhat recently. The only ones I can really think of have been basically the Gauntlet, like with Thanos, and like the potions. Could have sworn there was another one. Maybe I'm overlooking. What's up, Pixel Trader? All right, we'll see you in a bit. Just hit me up when you're ready. Yeah, I'm just at the point now where I think I need to start consolidating stuff and really just buying what I think is going to be valuable in the future. And also, too, I think we're going to get X-Men somewhat soon. So I need to start kind of liquidating stuff and like preparing for that, because I think we are getting like closer and closer and closer. Like, okay, we're gonna do what? Avengers number one comic, and then after that, like, okay, maybe Captain America number one, and then all right, like, where else is there left to go? X-Men number one. There's kind of not, or at least comic wise, but also collectible wise, there's been a lot of teasing and a lot of just X-Men stuff happening. So did we move all of our OMI into the Vivi app? So So a bit of a story with that, and it's probably good I'm just saying it now before Pixel Trader jumps on. But at least for me, I unfortunately, and some of you guys might know this already, but like I did get like my MetaMask hacked probably about a month ago. So it kind of sucks because this happened like 2 weeks before the whole Omi pump happened. But I clicked on a bad link. I was trying to download an old editing software, like that was on my old computer that I had. And so I was trying to find it and I thought I had the right link. I'm like, all right, let me find it. So I clicked on a link and then downloaded something. And then I noticed like my web browser just disappears. And I'm like, huh, that's weird. And the next thing I know, I go on to VMate and I had, I think a couple $100 worth of OMI on my MetaMask. And then it says like, hey, you need to have OMI in order to get premium. I'm like, that's weird. I bought OMI for this reason alone to like get premium. Look on my MetaMask, like all my OMI's gone. I had a bit of ETH that was gone. My Illuvium tokens was gone. My spawn was gone. So my OpenSea stuff was gone. Like, luckily I didn't lose any of my like community, like Vivi community stuff. You know, so a lot of like the drop heads and some like the fish and stuff like that is still like in my account. But like I lost like a lot of stuff that day. So that kind of left like a bitter taste in my mouth. And even though OMI was like super low, I didn't want to just like jump right back into buying crypto. And I was like, all right, I need to like reevaluate like what I need to do if I'm going to buy more of this. I do have a few $100 in OMI and like a on a market like wallet, like one of those like on a different wallet or whatever. So at least I managed to take advantage of the OMI pump a little bit, but not the same way where, all right, if I had, and I'm actually kind of glad because I was going to actually put low four figures into OMI like recently. I was about to do it and I'm kind of glad I didn't because I'm like, man, if I put that on my MetaMask wallet, I would have been effed like really bad. So that's kind of like the silver lining where like, okay, maybe it's good I hesitated and that I didn't put all my money in like right away because I didn't have a burn wallet. Like I didn't know, I had an idea of what it was, but I didn't know how to set it up. And so ever since then, I've been kind of talking with people on like how to safely invest in crypto and all that stuff. So all in all, it wasn't anything insane. Like all in all, it's probably like $600 or $700 and stuff that just kind of not that much. It was probably like 500, like $500 and stuff that just kind of went away. It sucks, you know. It's a. I think some people call it like a tuition, right? It's like education, tuition in the sense of like, all right, I have to pay this money to kind of educate myself and remind myself like, oh yeah, Web3 is kind of a scary place. If you don't take the proper procedures, you're going to lose a lot of stuff. So I'm really glad I didn't like just dump all my money into OMI and hopefully not on MetaMask. So I do plan on doing the whole OMI thing. I do want to get points in there. I do want to start getting bronze tickets, but I don't chase green candles. I don't know if you guys, maybe I'll do it over here first. Looks like the best place to like look up OMI. I usually use Coinbase on my like phone app to look up OMI. So like looking on here. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to show you guys this real quick. Maybe Pixel Trader will have a better idea, like what's the better like website to like look this stuff up. Of course, when I zoom in, it does not make the chart any better. Long story short, like obviously, OMI's just like been super green since the 22nd. And when I see things go up this much, like I'm just not going to chase green candles. Like I'd rather just wait for it. Maybe Vivi, or I should say Ecomi technically, doesn't announce anything utility wise for like a month or two. It pulls back a bit. Me personally, I might start buying again in like the 0.9 range, maybe 0.8, 0.9 range ish. Not entirely sure. Started trending upward, like slowly, like basically right when August hit, it was starting to slowly trend up. Because I could have sworn this thing got down to like 0.0005 something. And that's around the time I was going to buy a lot of it. But that's around the time I also got all my shit hacked. So I was like, all right, maybe that's a good wake up call. And it sucks. But at the same time, a lot of stuff on Vivi's like pulling back in value. So something else is going up, something else is going down, and there's an opportunity, I think, on Vivi to kind of make up for the losses there. Yeah, great people who want to play the crafting are happy to pay. Love that Vivi, Marvel, Disney are doing these fun crafting games. I think so too. I think you obviously just have to be careful. If you're thinking long term, it doesn't matter. Have fun, enjoy the collecting aspect of it, enjoy it, and the nice thing is too with all these like crafting things, right? It's like almost all the stuff is like FA. Like most of the characters are FA. Like you look at all the pencils, like 80% of the characters are FA except for like Elsa. I think Elsa so far has been like the only character at like the 3 drops we've had that aren't FA. So it's really cool. But at the same time, you kind of have to be careful because there's a lot of people that are kind of not just pumping and dumping, but I don't blame them for that, basically buying in to just sell for a profit and then saving up that profit to either cash out or buy something they do want. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. I'm like personally reevaluating what I'm going to find valuable, and then stuff. I think the stuff I find valuable isn't even on the app yet, which is like a lot of X-Men stuff, you know, Avengers 1, X-Men #1. That's the stuff I enjoy a lot. And if they did announce like a Wolverine digital collectible, I'll probably ape into it. Not absurdly hard. I already, as popular as Wolverine is, I think he'll still go up and then pull back a lot. I mean, Stan Lee did the same thing. Like Stan Lee right now, I think the SR is what's Stan Lee at right now? Remember when that thing went parabolic up to like, I don't know, is it 850, 900 gems? Now it's a third of the price. And this thing dropped not too long ago. P1XELTRADER should be hopping on here any minute. But yeah, this pulled back a lot. It might be P1XELTRADER's first time using what's it called? Streamlabs. I haven't done Streamlabs in a long time either. Streamlabs is just so easy to get guests on. Using OBS or other streaming software, it's nice. There's a lot of interactivity. There's cool stuff you can do, but like getting a guest on is such a nightmare. That sucks so bad. Yeah, dude, that's like my thing. Like I think it's probably worth more now. I don't know. I probably got $400 or $500 worth of Omi now because I bought a few hundred some time back that didn't get scammed. I do want to buy more. I want to at least hit like tier 1, which I believe is $2,500 worth of Omi. So I want to hit at least tier 1 so I can start getting bronze tickets. That was kind of my goal, and it still is. But I think it's pumped so much where I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna let it go for now. Gonna floor all my comics except the Grails and just flow and just throw that into Omi. I think it'll give me a way better return. My opinion, yeah, it could. It really depends on, obviously, 1, which comics are selling, and then 2, give me a sec here. Yeah, it depends on the comics and stuff too. But like, yeah, dude, Omi, if we're talking extremely long term, I think there's no better return than Omi. But we're talking like very, very long term, right? With it being like a deflationary token, and technically, like no matter what Vivi releases, Omi's getting burned. There's other mechanics that are going to burn more Omi. I just kind of wish there was a bit more to the like Omi staking than just like, oh, more MCP points. But I get what you mean. Like I'm talking extremely long term. Like, yeah, I do think Vivi would be awesome. So I'm just gonna catch up with chat here real quick. Sup vibes, just because of your story on MetaMask, I bought another hard wallet just in case. Yeah, dude. Yeah, you just get like, if you guys haven't done it in a while, like change your passwords, make sure your stuff like open additional accounts and like spread your NFT across NFTs across like multiple accounts. Like just as a heads up, like it's gonna settle again, most likely a new higher low. Yeah. Vibes, I lost $1,000 in USDT and gains on OpenSea earlier this year. You need to use the Cord storage wallet for crypto to be safe. Yeah, I have a friend that uses that. He says it works pretty well, but even then, it's you have to be kind of careful even with those too. A good call on keeping Grail Comics my plan as well. Yeah, it depends on what you're selling, right? What up, BB Vibes? All right, so we do have Pixel Traders here. He's gonna come hang out with us. I'm gonna go ahead and bring him up right now. What's up, Pixel Trader?
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. So is this your first time on StreamYard, or was someone invited you on StreamYard?
Yeah, so I didn't have some of this stuff set up, and I actually have a new desktop mic, so got that all set
Okay.
up. So hopefully the audio sounds better.
Yeah, no, you sound just fine. It was just interesting because you were messaging me like, "Yeah, why is everything blocked?" And I'm like, "Oh, you just need to click on it and all that stuff." So, no
Yeah.
worries. Cool. Yeah. So I was just kind of reading chat here. So if this is your first time using Streamlabs, on the right you can see chat. There's even like a little private chat feature on the right too, so you can see me say hi. So if you ever want to talk about a topic or anything like that, just throw it in there.
Nice.
But how you doing, dude? How's your day going? How you feeling about the market, Omi? Maybe just talk about how you're doing today.
It's good. It's been exciting times. I mean, it's never a dull moment in the NFT or crypto world, but especially Vivi the past couple of days, have been pretty wild. But everything's going well. Watching the market closely, watching Omi closely, watching crypto closely, and I have a lot of stuff we could talk about. I'm not sure what you've already covered, but feeling really good about everything. Feeling really
Yeah.
good.
I mean, I don't know if I've seen you in my streams before. So I mean, as you know, I play kind of fast and loose. We talk about whatever. We talk about what chat wants. If a topic comes up, we could talk about that. But if you have certain like highlights or certain things you want to talk about, obviously just bring it up. But we were just talking about mostly just like safety of Web3. I was just recently talking about how my like MetaMask was like recently hacked, and so I think I brought up that story a couple times. I even brought it up on the Uncommon podcast that I did with Delilah, or I should say D, and Hinano, and they're like, yeah, this stuff can happen. And even right here, like Crazy Dan said that, he lost $1,000 in OpenSea earlier this year because he wasn't careful. So, have you ever had something like that happen to you? Or I guess, do you know of anyone that's been kind of hacked for like an excessive amount like that? Like personally?
Yep. Oh yeah, for sure. It's kind of one of those things where in Web3, it's like either you've been rugged or hacked before, or it just hasn't happened yet. Unfortunately, it's just like when you're newer, you're just so susceptible to something right. And even if you do everything right, the founders could rug on you, or they could, pull the, pull a fast bait and switch. Like so many things happen when you're new. You don't really know how to validate projects very well and play safe, let alone, you just click the wrong link one day and now your stuff's gone. I mean, it's just unfortunately how it is. So I've had a couple of close calls. I've never had that happen to me personally. I've had it happen in other types of trading and things like many, many years ago. So I kind of learned my lesson there for crypto. But it's just kind of part of the thing, right? If it's the whole not your keys, not your you know, do you own your keys or not is great, but it's I think Rob Stuff kind of said it pretty well because he was newer to Vivi and crypto a couple years ago when he used to stream, and he would say, everyone wants to own their stuff until they lose their stuff or they get hacked or something maybe completely out of your control happens. And now it's like, well, there's a reason why banks hold your money, or there's a reason why you want someone with security and a foundation to hold your stuff for you sometimes, because not everything can be fully decentralized. But it's I think the space will evolve and grow. Vivi is just a different aspect of NFTs, and that's a whole other debate. Are they real NFTs and all that stuff? But it's unfortunate because it is scary. That's definitely for newer people, for like people who actually want to collect or put in big money or get involved. They're terrified when they hear a story of even really experienced traders and really experienced crypto people, like people who lead large projects, just out of nowhere. Oh yeah, we got hacked. $3 million is gone. Or, oh yeah, someone hacked our website.
Yeah.
All your stuff is gone.
Did that happen to someone with the what's it called? Like the kid called Beast. There was someone like in charge of like a big like crypto project that like had like a lot of money drained from their wallet.
Multiple times. It's almost a weekly thing. If you dig in Twitter enough, I mean, pretty much every week it feels like there's some higher level project or community member that gets their stuff stolen. And sometimes it's as harmless as it's totally out of your control, and sometimes it's you're just half awake in the middle of the night, you're clicking a link, or you're clicking an email, right? Or you're clicking a Discord chat from your buddy that's being impersonated. It's 3 a.m. and you don't realize. I mean, sometimes it's just human error, right? But you can never be fully safe when Yeah, Kid Called Beast. I was in that project, and I participated luckily early on. And their official Twitter account, which had a not just a blue badge, it had a gold badge, which is like the company business, whatever verification, got hacked and posted a fake link. The official Twitter posted a fake minting link and drained a bunch of
Jeez.
people. So even
Yeah.
like how do you protect yourself against that? That's impossible, right?
Yeah,
As
with
a
these
user.
projects. Yeah, because like it's like that's the official Twitter of A Kid Called Beast. That's the official Discord of what's the recent one that happened?
Well, Kevin Rose is a big name in the community.
Yeah.
He had got drained. I mean, it's unfortunate, and that's why I think it's been helpful to me to have a background in traditional stocks and reviewing businesses and leadership and forward growth and all these other things that help because I can view Vivi from more of like a business perspective. And the biggest thing that people want when they put in big money is security, right? No one wants to put in big money into something that's unsecure. I mean, that's just the basic, right? That's why old
Yeah.
people they say, they're boring because they just their goal in their order is just to not lose their money. They just want it slow and steady and boring. When you're younger, you can YOLO a little bit more. It's different, but anything you
Mhm.
can imagine that could be hacked, whether it's steal your phone number, hack your Discord, hack your Twitter, hack your website, impersonate your friend on Discord. I mean, they could if they get a little bit of info on you or have the time, they could go to any
Yeah.
depths that they want to try to steal your money or steal your community, or even like you said, in some aspects, you're not even doing anything with crypto or NFTs. You just get something that steals your cookies, your browser cookies, and they just dig through your stuff, and then they end up
Yeah,
stealing
I
your
think that's what happened to me.
NFTs.
I clicked the wrong link or a download thing, and my browser just closed, and I'm like, that's weird. And it almost seemed like they had access to like all of my cookies, all my stuff, so all my saved passwords. So I had to go in there. I changed my passwords for all of my emails, all of my social media, all my banks, like just everything. I changed my passwords on Vivi, on
Yeah, it's
oh my
scary.
gosh, my DC, like Palm, all my stuff. So I tried to change it all as fast as I could. Unfortunately, a lot of my stuff got sold off on MetaMask. Pretty much anything that was worth anything on my MetaMask got eventually sold off or traded or like moved to like another um, person. But I
Yeah,
don't want to talk. Yeah, I don't want to dig too much into that. I mean, I feel like the community's kind of well known now. I know my collectibles has made a couple of videos about kind of how to protect yourself and like how basically the community of Web3 kind of needs to step up and like help newer investors if they ever want to like expand that space at all. Because if people are just incessantly getting scammed, hell, even like you said, experienced traders or even like people that are running projects are like losing tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of crypto or NFTs. So
yeah.
um,
In some aspects, it's exciting, right? Because it's the Wild West and fully decentralized. I'm a big Bitcoin maxi, and I'm all about that stuff. Freedom of expression and speech, and I love all that stuff. But you kind of have to, like everything else, you kind of have to adapt with the times if you want new money, big money.
yeah,
You want hedge fund. I mean, if you want that stuff, their number one thing is our money safe, and that's all they care about, right? And then from there they can move on. But it's just there's ways to make yourself more secure, but that's kind of one of the beautiful things about VVs. You can give it to your dad or your cousin or your friend and just say, this is why this is cool and important. Here's how you mint, and here's the market, and then that's all they need to know, right? From there, they're set.
yeah.
They don't need
We're,
to worry about all the other steps and security and yeah.
Yeah, weirdly enough, like even though after I got scammed and it sucked, like after about a week after it happened, I'm like, man, I'm so glad I got most of my stuff on VV because not to say it would never happen, obviously, unless you share like your password and somehow someone got access to your phone and all that stuff. But like, it's just so much safer on VV. But just as a kind of just a sidetrack here for a bit, do you think people are sleeping on Young Warhol? On this one. Remember, that's the first airdrop this was the airdrop for people that bid on that first auction,
Yep,
like
I
ever.
remember.
Yeah,
Yep,
I feel like
that
people
was
are
one
kind of sleeping on this.
I had told you and a couple other friends when the bidding opened. I said,
I
I
remember you
might be
told me.
crazy, but like bid on it. You're not gonna win, but just bid on it. I guarantee you, there's gonna be some kind of perk like an airdrop. And sure enough, they're like,
Yeah.
"Here's your airdrop." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, right? Free profit is nice."
Mhm.
Kind of in a way, maybe not right now, just because the type of market we're in, and there's a decent amount of mints. But I think there's going to be a time where things change, and we're going to start looking at FAs differently, right? This is the first Disney FA. This is the first, airdrop FA. This is the first whatever, and that is FA for a couple of different reasons. But I like it. It's a secret rare. It's a single set. It's cheap compared to a lot of other things. So I don't know if I would stack them per se, but I wouldn't mind having, at least one of those in the future, just because it does have some significance on the app for sure. And it's kind of a meme, the whole Warhol thing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna catch up with chat really quick here. So Hinano says his ears were ringing. I heard my name. What's up? What's up, guy? Yeah, what's up? I know the weather in Hawaii is pretty nice right now, so glad you're listening. I'm sure both you and D are both working right now and listening to us in a meeting, totally paying attention. I'm sure. Big A said that it was the Elmon X Discord that got hacked, and then Hinano
That's
again.
a bad one. The
Yeah,
thing
that
is,
was the
too,
bad
for
one.
a lot of these companies, I mean, this is with every company, not just like NFT projects. I mean, so for some people, it just takes one scary moment and like they're out like forever, like they never come back, right? So for some people, the Kid Called Beast, terrified them, or the Elmon, they just get terrified and they just check out completely, right? And then that only happens so many times before people are just done with it. So I mean, I play both markets. I'm involved in a ton of projects on OpenSea and Solana. Like I'm all over the place for sure. And it can be scary at times. Even for me, sometimes I have to play it slow and be careful what you connect your wallet to and all this other stuff, and have multiple wallets. But there are quite a bit of hoops for something that shouldn't be that difficult for people who just want to spend money and buy cool stuff and collect cool stuff. But and now we're seeing that more recently. You might have seen on Twitter, there's other bigger projects on OpenSea that are talking about Veve now and saying, hey, I think the future is looking like Nifty and OpenSea and some of these other more mainstream products that are taking a different approach than just here's our art, it's really cool, go mint it.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I mean, Veve is getting credit from other places, and it's definitely growing a lot. And we've seen that too in the sentiment, right? I mean, it's just like, do you remember when the Veve AMA was, or not AMA, the Veve update, whatever it was it 2 weeks ago, a week ago, when it was just
like
Alex,
on the app?
No, a Twitter space. They had a Twitter space of like the what do they call it, the Veve recap or whatever. They used to do it like once a month, and they started videos, and they kind of bounce around. Anyways, like a week or two ago, and after that space, I joined it. There's a lot of people in there. Everybody joined the space, and people were like furious. There was literally a space after it ended of like, Vivi's dead. This is horrible. They didn't even talk about this. They didn't ask any questions. I mean, people were like pissed. Like, I'm done. I'm quitting. I'm like, wait a second. I didn't get that vibe at all. I thought it was fine. I mean, maybe it's a little dry and stale, but like, it's just an update.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be a pep rally, like a high school pep rally. So I mentioned in the space after, like, have you guys been on earnings calls? They are boring. It's just numbers and data. It's dry. It's like there's a different purpose in these updates versus the hype and stuff is going to come from Veve. They're going to tweet stuff. They're going to tease stuff, right? We're going to get teasers forever. It's going to be a lot of fun. But the update itself, for a lot of people, that's all it took, and they're just like out of it. So I think it's been helpful. I try to give a perspective of look at the bigger picture, look at the fundamentals. Let's draw this out. Look at the company as a company and the IP, and be fair versus like judging like one drop or one tweet or one space and like freaking out. Either positive or negative. Because if you're being objective from the outside, you start laying these pieces, like it's getting more and more and more bullish, whether you believed it before or later. Like it's getting hard, even for the people who were, adamantly anti-Veve, to say there's progress being made, and this is looking, if Vive's smart, and I think they are, they're setting themselves up very, very nicely for the next, bull run.
Yeah. Hinano says he actually likes earnings calls. He's boring like that.
If you know your stuff, they are interesting if you know what to look for, right? But the normal person, it's just like they might as well watch paint dry. They're just like over their head.
Yeah. Especially on my end, because with my job, like I see stocks and stuff go up or down, like based on earnings calls, right? Like, Facebook is down, or this is down, or X is up, like whatever it is, like the name change, like all that stuff affects it at the end of the day.
And sometimes it doesn't make sense, right? I mean, I listen to pretty much every Tesla earnings call and Apple and these other ones, and there's times where it depends on the sentiment, right? Like that's one thing we're seeing right now. There's been kind of a switch in sentiment for Veve and Omi in particular, where there's been times where Apple comes out or Tesla or whoever, Google, and says, we beat on this, like everything's looking great. Our outlook is, growing, our numbers are increasing. And like by every metric that they have, it's nothing but good news, smashing records. And then the stock is down like 7% after hours. And you're like, what? That makes no sense at all. But it doesn't have to make sense, right? And crypto is that like times 10. It doesn't have to make any sense. right? You can see in meme coin, up 13,000%, and you see like legit projects they're just struggling and struggling. Um,
Mhm.
but anyway, I mean that's just part of the game, right? It doesn't have to make sense. People are still people. We're emotional animals. We're emotional investors, and that's something you have to take into consideration.
Oh yeah. I did want to switch gears here and just kind of talk about a little bit about the market and some collectibles we got going on here. Do you have the Hulk set right now? Do you have the whole set, like of all
Yep,
four?
I had 3
Okay.
sets. I sold a couple. I have 2 sets. I have more FA Hulks, the green original, and
Okay.
then 2 full sets after that. Yeah.
Okay. And so so just out of curiosity, why the two sets? Like, what's the strategy there, or is it just to kind of you just like Hulks that much?
For me, I'm not too worried about trying to like flip things really short term unless something pumps like crazy. I mean, I've been pretty good about stacking things at the right time. Like I got R2D2s like 180, $190. I stacked those. I stacked the secret rare Ayabagamotos when they're like $150 or $180, whatever, and sold those at 450. Like I've done a pretty good job of trying to time those flips, but for certain things, it's like I still want to have more than one, right? Um, because I do like it, and I don't. For me, at least, I'd rather buy and stack things that I like and only sell them when I'm in the profit or when the sentiment is good than like flipping and stressing out and buying and flipping to make like 20 gems. So like to me, that's not worth it. Like
Mhm.
if I'm gonna flip it, it's gonna need to be like a large flip, or I got a stack that's cheap enough I can just hold and run it out.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just want to have two. I mean, if I have one and it's really really cool, I'm gonna feel bad about selling it, right? If I have two, yeah, I can at least keep one extra set.
Yeah.
So
So
I
like
like
one.
three, but two is still pretty good.
Yeah. So like kind of one set to hold, forever or whatever that time comes, and then a second set, um, in case it just goes like parabolic, and you're like, all right, this price is kind of high. I feel like it's gonna pull back, or there's some like new announcement. All right, I don't mind selling one and maybe rebuying it later at a cheaper price, because that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. I was just explaining earlier, in some weird ways, I do kind of feel like these airdrops are a bit of a trap. I feel like a lot of people have gotten burned, including myself, on some of these like airdrop things. Like if we're talking like the gauntlet, right? Like if you didn't get most of those stones very early and you're like chasing it, like you're down right now, right? Like the gauntlet
Yeah.
is like gone pulled back a ton. Thanos has pulled back a ton. Trying to remember, I thought there was like the Disney potion. The potions themselves have also pulled back in price a lot. I think the posters are still doing decently well, but there's just so few of them. I think it's kind of hard to dictate like if
Yeah.
they're actually being sold on the market. And with Hulks, like at least me personally, I could just totally see if the airdrop is a flop, everything's going to go down in price. People are obviously still going to hold the Hulks to get the airdrop and then sell it even lower. But if it ends up being like a great drop, it's like a Bruce Banner, like transforming or whatever. It's like a double FA because it's like maybe it's like FA Bruce Banner and FA Grey Hulk or whatever. If it looks like that, I do think Planet Hulk will go up a bit, so will Red Hulk. But then, of course, they'll dump shortly after the airdrop. So, like, kind of what do you want the airdrop to be? Like, what's like the perfect scenario? And then, like, what do you think is going to happen after the fact?
Well, the way I see airdrops or just anything in general is no one who's like, I don't know, how do I say this? Basically, there's a couple of different people on Vivi, right, or any platform. The people who want to flip like really really short term and either build gems or cash out or whatever. The people who are trying to build gems and flip stuff to get other bigger items, right? Like work your way up to something. And there's other people, which I'm mostly in, that are just like they just want to hold, and like I don't want to sell anything until we're in like a for sure bull market. Like I want 5x's, 10x's, 20x. I don't want 20 gems, 30 gems. Like the ones you don't see for sale are those people who are willing to hold for 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years, whatever, or forever. I mean, some people really want to hold these for as long as they can, right? 10, 20 years.
Mhm.
So it just depends on what game you want to play. For me, it would be awesome. I think the mints are going to be higher than people expect. There might be around 900 to 1,000 mints, which is pretty high for a secret rare airdrop. But if it's like FA Grey Hulk, Bruce Banner transforming animated, looks really awesome. That'll help a lot. But the highest tier one, the most rare, always sets the value for the rest, right? So if the secret rare comes out and it drops to like 150, then for sure Red Hulk and Planet Hulk are going to go down much lower, right? Because they're higher
Yeah.
mints and they were used. Like same thing with Thanos, right? The highest, most rare one is going to set the tone. But if it's the opposite, like say maybe the airdrop is 250 gems, then the other ones might actually stay steady or even move up a little bit because that's kind of setting the level of the highest, most expensive one. but it's just again, everything is sentiment. It's just right now people are looking for gems. Some people are cashing out a lot of stuff to get Omi as fast as they can. That's part of the dip too. The cash out just came back. I think that's part of the dip too. So it depends on your strategy. If you really don't care about, besides a couple weeks or a couple months of trading, then that's different than like I just want to secure some cool stuff to hold for years and years, or at least till the next big pump.
Yeah.
Because when sentiment turns around, I mean, we've seen the power of what VV and crypto in general can do when you turn on the money printers and everyone's in a good mood and things are just
Oh yeah.
flying.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the the VV pump, right? We saw the bull market, and then now with Omi, right? We saw how crazy parabolic things can go on that side. I don't know why I'm looking at my Nessie right here. Have you bought anything recently that you're just like, you know what? I just kind of want to buy this for no reason. It's not a grail. It's nothing interesting, but I just saw this Nessie for like $3.99 like the other day, and it was like $2 below the floor. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy this. I don't own any, what's it called, like Cryptkins. I think I owned a couple way back in the day. Was there anything that you bought recently?
I'm kind of always buying cheap comics. If I see cheap comics, I recently bought. Let me look it up actually. FA Winnie the Pooh and Piglet, because once those are in like the $30 range, I'm like, this is just ridiculous. I know the mints are high, but like FA Golden Moments, like some of these Golden Moments are so cheap, it's just like, what? And Alex had said that they want to do something with the Golden Moments eventually, so that's one I got recently. Let's see what else I got recently. What is this item I bought?
So am I able to look up? I can't look up users on the search bar, can I?
You can. Yep. Yeah, if you do a search and then put a name, it should on the web app. I think it'll work.
Is it still spelled with an I, Pixel Trader?
Yeah, just take out the space though. I don't think you can do spaces.
Oh, it's all one word.
And it should show me under users.
Oh, there you are. Okay, just want to show the account real quick. Master Collector.
Yeah, the what else did I buy? I think I bought a C3PO Gold Moment because those are like in the 150s, which to me is crazy. But I'm always kind of buying just cheap things here and there. But I bought a Mysterio Ultra Rare. That's
a cool looking one. I think that one people are kind of sleeping on. I think that's a really cool looking collectible.
Let me see what it was. I think it was like $40 or something. Yeah, so I mean,
you got a pretty good collection here.
Oh yeah, you have it up. Yeah, I mean, I haven't updated my homepage in a while, but these are just kind of the things that I like in general. And they all have a reason, right? Like FA Luke, I still think the original golden logo, silver logo is going to be a big deal. FA Star Wars, not only is the Homer Simpson one, Homer and Bart, right? FA of The Simpsons, but it's FA of like, Disney and Golden Moments and the whole thing. That started it off. That was the first drop.
That kind of kicked everything off. Did you? We'll go back to this in a sec. But did you see the interview with David Yu and at Randy, where we kind of talked about the one recently? Did you see David Yu's face when Randy was
like, know it was a live?
Yeah, he didn't know it was a live stream. Like towards the end, I'm trying to remember what it was, but Randy was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna end the stream here in a little bit." He's like, "Wait, is this live?" And he's like, "Yeah, this is live." And he's like, oh god, like I could definitely see it like in David's mind.
Some insider information on live.
Yeah, because like there was like two things I think he said that at least got me like really interested. One was he said they're going to give away like new logos, right? Like new Vivi logos at the New York Comic Con, right? And then I thought, maybe I misheard, but I could have sworn he said he found some more gold and silver logo like cards, like the original ones, like in a stack or something. Maybe I misheard. But I could have sworn he said like, oh yeah, like Dan and I found like some more cards somewhere. Like, I don't know where they found it or where they like stashed them or something like that. But
I wouldn't be surprised. I think if I remember, it was that there's new logos coming out because Randy asked like, are these all the logos? Because Randy collected the number 41s, which is pretty cool. But he did, kind of clarify that this gold and silver, the original, is the utility one. The other ones would be different. Who knows what that means? But the whole thing about like secret projects that Ikomi's working on, you can kind of dig into that if you wanted to. I think there's other verticals that aren't even talked about at all that are coming that Vivi has said are working on. So I mean, think about we have sports, we have music, the entertainment, gaming. Like these are all verticals that aren't even, you haven't even touched any of those, and every single one of those could be a massive, massive, in itself, massive catalyst, and just those
Mhm.
are enormous, market and fan bases that Vivi is not even using currently. So, but I like the fact that they're building the foundation. They're definitely building the foundation.
Nice. I'm looking at here. Sorry, Slavs asked earlier. He said, "I sold my small stack of art, or he said, I sold my small R2D2 stack in the pump. Love that piece though. Hope it gets back sometime." Yeah, let's hope so.
Nice. Yeah, I think I shouldn't tell people what I want to do, but there's gonna be certain things on the app that are just, once you start comparing the prices and then also the mint numbers, you're gonna start seeing things that are just dramatically like, I mean, it's already happening, right? You see something that's maybe say 40 gems, and you compare that to something maybe that's a little bit older that's 40 gems, and you're like, wait a second, these should not be the same price. Either this one
Mhm.
is way, way, way overvalued, or this one's way, way under. It's got to be one or the other, right? Because there's certain things on the app that are the same price and just do not make any sense whatsoever, right? The one of them's got to move. So I think there's certain things that when we pump, they're just so rare. I mean, there's certain I mean, it's easy just to point to Miles, and that's my favorite one on the app, of course. But the mint size matter a lot, in a bear market like now, because it's kind of what saves a lot of collectibles is the mint size. If it's too high, it just, I mean, you can look at a lot of examples where the collectible is really, really awesome. It looks awesome. It's animated, has sound, it's amazing, and the price is, most people would say is low, right? Just because of the mint
Mhm.
size. So then there's other things that are kind of being carried because the mints are low. So you can only imagine in an actual bull market, like when there's low mints, I mean, you're going to be fighting so hard to find anyone that's willing to sell, under a ridiculous price.
Yeah, I think we see it more with like the like the independent artist pieces. Like the mints are sometimes so low that, of course, that's what gives them the majority of the value. But at the same time, like you look at something like Miles, like dude, like Miles,
Miles is an
like
anomaly, and I just,
yeah, it's the
as soon as I saw Miles and it came out, I'm just like stack, like let's go, time to stack. I'm not even gonna think twice about it. And I think the rares in the 250s or 270s or whatever it was,
Mhm.
and the ultra rares in the 300s, because I just knew like if I just lay out what makes it a valuable collectible, like the look of it, the quality, the mint size, the drop price, the sentiment of the current market, like all this stuff, I'm like, this is an A plus in literally every single category. Like nothing is even close, in my opinion. There's some things that are super grails, but there's just either too many mints or it's not the right time or whatever. But Miles is, at least for now, like a whole other level of grail on BB. I mean, the
yeah, it's
secret rare is like 160 public mints. 160.
yeah,
I mean, the
yeah,
other
because
other low mints are like 600, 700, 800. Like 160 secret rares is insane.
I think Miles is like the epitome of like popularity and like super low mint numbers. I know some people were comparing like, oh, it was like Wolverine going to. I'm trying to remember what stream it was, but like someone said like, oh well, Wolverine like overtake like Miles. I'm like, unless Wolverine like is like a similar format, like unless there's like 50 to 100 SR like Wolverines, like that's it. And there's like some other ones, like it has to be less than Miles, I think, in my opinion. Like there has to be less Wolverines than there are Miles, and like have a same like.
For the most part, or that's the thing. When something gets so rare, it's not that hard for someone with deep pockets or a group of people to just say like, we're just gonna just
Yeah,
literally gobble up 80% of all. I mean, if someone really wanted to right now, they could buy 5 miles, and then now the floor is like 40 grand, and then like, all right, it's gone. Like, right? I mean,
yeah.
it's
If you
not
buy
that
it,
hard for one person to do that.
if you buy it 5 right now, it goes up to 22K, and at that point the price just went up like 50% for the most part. So
Yeah, and that's one of the bullish catalysts is when you start doing Omi to NFT, and it's easy to buy Omi, and maybe Omi's pumping now. People want to spend that extra cash that they just got. I mean, it's not unrealistic to think that people,
mhm.
when money is easy, people start spending. That's just how it is, and we've seen that a bunch of times, especially during the last bull run. But oh yeah, Slavs mentioned the self-made. That's when I bought a while ago. I believe I got a self-made
Yeah.
for like $600. I mean, I just saw it, and again, I'm like, this makes no sense. No, no, no. I think the drop price is 6. Let me check actually. That's another one that's like, it's special,
Yeah.
it's unique, it looks cool, it means a
I saw it
lot.
on your thing, on your profile.
Yeah, it should be on there, and it's just crazy rare. It's popular in real life as
Down
well, and
here.
it also
Yeah,
kind of
there's 250 mints, but if you subtract the 90, right, that means there's 160 public.
I believe so. I don't remember if the independent artist stuff is always minus subtracted
90,
90. It's, I mean,
or it might be
even
something
250
different.
is rare, but if it is, it's something like that.
Yeah. Stan wants to know: does Randy have inside information in your opinion, and why? And that's why he's an Omi fiend. I mean, he's been an Omi fiend since like day one. I think even before like all the Vivi and stuff kicked off, like at least based on kind of what I know about him, like he's been collecting. He's like one of the original investors in like Omi. So I don't. If you know like insider information in the sense of like he kind of knew what was going to happen with Omi. I mean, they told everybody what was going to happen with Omi, right? Like, hey, eventually you're going to buy NFTs with it. There's going to be like a program and all this stuff. Like, it all happened. It just technically took like 3 years for it to like unfold. You know, since like the
That's the
inception
thing,
bubble.
right? So now there's a
Yeah.
lot of people who are just now getting into Omi. That, I mean, you're literally paying double. Omi, when I looked earlier, was
From a month
double
ago,
zero
yeah.
1 2, and it was double triple 0 5 6, 6 0, whatever. And I was buying at that time just because the catalysts that are coming, you guys, everybody knew they were coming. It's just like, when it was coming, and do you believe they're going to deliver all that stuff? But there's been no like surprises out of the blue that are just like insane catalysts. It's just the same old, you know whether you believe it or not, have a little bit of faith, of course. But Vivi's been telling us what's coming, what they're doing, and they haven't. There's a lot of things that even David Yu doesn't know are coming, right? I mean, he has a roadmap. He's looking way out in the future, but there's even things that he probably is not going to see, that maybe Sony comes to them or Disney, and they promote something or mention something, and David Yu's like, yeah, let's go. I mean, I don't know. It's mostly that they're building the foundation for like success is what I'm most excited about.
Yeah. Hey, Nano, glad you got your Marvel Spotlight number 5 for UR for 39 gems. I have one here that I bought a while back for 305 gems. And I thought, I mean, at the time it was a great deal. I remember when this thing pulled back a ton. Yeah, dude, times were just different back then. Like, there's a lot of pieces. I feel like I would almost just hold no matter what, just to kind of see like, yeah, like this thing kind of happened. It's almost like an homage to like, yeah, I was here during the bull market. Yeah, I bought shit at the top. But oh well, like I'm just gonna hold it. I would have some very specific things would have to happen for me to sell things at such a. I mean, I'm still in the green by a lot, thanks to like winning some big drops, winning Walt like very, very early on in like my VV career, things like that. So it's like technically, even though my vault value overall is down like 90%, I'm still in the green, considering like how much money I've actually like put in to the project. But
yeah, right now, Jeremy Padawar just tweeted, I bought some more Omi today, never sold a single token. It's an interesting time. VV community competition is less fierce. Great brands, utility program as appears to be coming. Exchanges are needed. Still a believer, but please diversify your bag. This is from Jeremy Padawar, who was a very big, early promoter of VV, and but for a lot of people who got into Omi was through him and other people. But to hear that a name like that, right? I mean, you can see the sentiment change just off that. All Vivi said is you can stake your Omi up to 10 million, and you get just the basic stuff, and now it's already like okay.
It's just funny because like he's talked about it before, but like very lightly, or he'll randomly mention it. But I think it's kind of one of those things, like the second something starts looking positive, everybody jumps on board, right? Everyone's like, this is the best, and like we've been waiting for this and all that stuff. So it's like it's good. I mean, it's been a long time coming, and so it's like I'm happy for all the people that bought Omi early, either like way back in like 2020, 2021. It's like, all right, the stuff we've been kind of promised a long time ago is like finally coming to fruition. Or all the people that have been DCAing since 2022, like early 2022, or people that bought it at the bottom, and that now they're in the green. So good for them.
It's good to have a plan, because Jeremy's in a different boat than like 99% of people, right? He's a businessman. He's been this for a long time. He's got plenty of money, plenty of like his stuff is diversified. He's in all these other things. Like, he doesn't need to YOLO on Omi. He doesn't even need to do that, right, to be successful.
Yeah.
But he likes it enough to talk about it. That's why he, if you're a public figure, you kind of have to be a little careful. You can't just say, this is the best thing ever, right? You have to say, this is awesome, I love it, but NFA, diversify. Like, you kind of have to be gentle around it, because you kind of represent, a certain status or whatever. But for a lot of people, I mean, then you have the extreme, like Randy, right? Randy's all in, right? And he's had a couple good calls. And it's funny when Randy talks about his history, it's kind of similar to mine. Like, he did great with Tesla. He did great with, trading cards. He did great with a couple other things. So, he's going with his gut and his heart, which says this is the next big thing. So he's going all in, right? A lot of people can criticize him, and you can say he's either going to be incredibly wealthy in 2 or 3 years, or he's going to be like have this huge regrets. And as long as Omi pumps, I hope Randy shaves a little bit off the top and takes some profits along the way, because I'd love to see him kind of live his dream and be able to do what he wants instead of waiting for all or none situation. And then someone like me is more in the middle. I didn't go all in Omi or all in collectibles. I did both because I think they are going to, there is going to be a synergy where they help each other out. So if one goes up, I can benefit. If the other goes up, I can benefit. Some people were only collectibles, so this Omi pump means nothing to them, right? And vice
Yeah.
versa. Like some people are all Omi, and like the collectible pumps mean nothing to them. So
Mhm.
for me, I did both, and I think they're both going to be winning tickets in different ways. But um, yeah, it's just interesting, right? I mean, it's and that's how crypto is. People often don't want to talk about something until it's safe, right? So once Bitcoin starts pumping, the market starts switching around, Omi's pumping, then people start feeling comfortable out talking about it, because now it's like it's in the clear, right? It's in the green. And then it's the steamroll effect, right? People often don't jump in until it's pumped a lot versus buying it when it's like the sentiment is terrible, right? The sentiment is horrible. Because Omi was in what I believe was a good consolidation phase, a good buy zone for months and months and months, right? And now we're finally breaking out of that, and now people are like, oh yeah, now it's good to pull the trigger. It's like,
Mhm.
well, it's still a good buy. It's still cheap technically if you believe in the token long term. But the fact that you could have bought it for half price not too long ago, for a lot of people is a turn off, and now they might not do anything. They just peace out again. It's like you got to have a plan, right? Like have a plan.
Yeah.
DCA is your best friend most of the time. Like just have a plan versus all or none, Moon Boy or whatever, negative fudder. Like have a
Yeah.
plan, because
But
at the end of the
for
day, you're the only one responsible for your money, right?
But for new users, when they jump in, they they don't really care about the low. They look at the chart, they're like, oh man, this thing was at
Yeah, they're not going to know
like
any of that.
this thing was at one penny.
Always on
Like
Coinbase. It looks cool. I like Disney and I like Marvel, and they're just going to throw in 10 grand. Like they're not going to have any clue about the rough times we had, years ago. They're going to have no idea. You're right.
yeah. I'm just gonna catch up with chat here a little bit. Stan says, in your opinion, will comic collectors respect rare and ultra rare like comics since they aren't original? We'll answer that in a second here. I just want to catch up with chat. Warlock says, sup guys and gals. What's up, Warlock? Cool Mo, got myself made for 1100.
Nice,
Yeah,
that's
super
a
rare.
great piece. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
pump it because they have it, but it's rare and it's special. And I think the whole entrepreneurship mentality is going to play a big deal once crypto pumps. And so the self-made I like a lot too.
Mm-hmm. And then it says Omi is giving too many points and upsetting big collectors. I think Omi is going to get nerfed and take the price. Or I think instead of nerfing like Omi holders, I think what they might do is just because they still haven't technically. I mean, I think the old MCP program is still I don't want to say out of date, but I mean, it's like over a year old at this point. It's like a year and a half old, right? Since like the last update. I think what they might do is just increase the points that collectors are getting. Like instead of like common comics giving, I don't know, a quarter of a point, now it should go up to like maybe half a point. Like if they just double all the points for actual like Vivi holders of collectibles, I think that should suffice. But I do agree because based on the math, from what I've heard from other people, is that if you put in 10 million Omi, you instantly get 1,700 MCP points a day, which that alone still puts you in the top like 0.25% of people on Vivi. Like, if I add my two vault values together, it's probably worth about $5,000 or something like my between comics and collectibles. It's probably just shy of $5,000.
Well,
But you look at my
change it as the pool change, and mine's already actually I just checked it. Mine changed. I'm staking 10 million, and I'm getting about 300 or 400 points less than I was yesterday staking at 10 million. So I think already they're changing the pool. Yeah,
that and also just the whole MCP like point collecting thing is still like very buggy. Like sometimes it changes. Like there's days where I'm like up 100 points and it says like I'm getting 410 points a day. Maybe because you complete a set and it jumps up a lot, or there's even days where I don't do anything and it jumps up like 50 points or goes down 30. I'm like, what is going on? So I still think even that is a little bit finicky. So until they kind of smooth everything out, I wouldn't look into it like too much. Rob says, nice grab for the SR Marvel Spotlight. Nice grab. How many public editions do Secret Rare Comics have with 250 editions? I think it's random, right? Like out of the pool of like, let's say 10,000 comics, and I think they take out like 300 or 200 or whatever the amount is. I think it's random from like all the like rarities. I don't think it's like, all right, 100 commons, 50 uncommons, 25 rares, 10 I don't know, 10 ultra rares and like 5 like secret rares. I think it's random how they pull them, right?
Sorry, what of the
West,
how many? Sorry, I was looking at the market. How many public edition secret comics with? You're talking about they take random mints, or you're saying random number?
I think it's I think it's a flat number of mints, right? They take out like 300 or whatever, maybe a little bit less, like 200 comics. But I think it's random across all the rarities. So like one drop might have 5 secret rares, and then another drop might have like 20 secret rares that get pulled. I thought it was random, but I could be wrong. So if someone in chat knows, like, let me know.
That would be kind of weird because then you would have maybe like, what if it's like takes mostly from everything but secret rares and there's more, or what if it just happens to take like way more secret rares for some reason? I don't know. I don't know how they divide that up. Actually, I think I've heard before the answer, but I don't remember what it was. I think
maybe it's with collectibles. Maybe that's with collectibles where it's like random. No, I don't think it's that. I don't know. I'm not too sure, Wes, to be honest. Sorry,
that's the thing too. We don't have a lot of data now, but once we're able to get like, I was talking about this in space a long time ago that people eventually on the more expensive items and the rare ones. Hold on, don't skip that comment. Look at Shawnee said.
Shawnee?
Yeah, Shawnee's cool.
No, it's like, what do you?
I just saw that too. Like, all right.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, wait, yeah. Just want to make sure. Definitely getting more exciting within Omi and Vivi. And then what's up, homie? Vivi Wheels, what's up, dude? Thanks for stopping by.
We don't know the
numbers.
Yeah, but so right now, like that's the big question: is how many mints, which ones are taken. Like for SR Miles, someone had posted which of the secret rares were not public, like which ones are kept, and there's a good amount of low mints that Vivi kept of the 100 or of the 250 secret rares, right? So that's something that in the future people are going to dig into. That when you're spending a lot of money, you want to know what's the lowest public mint and how many people owned it before, and yada. Like that's going to change like how you perceive certain collectibles, and eventually when that's easy to get that data, then that'll kind of fire up the market too, I think, because right now you're just buying whatever's on the floor or whatever.
That's why kind of like my thing was it's funny because when I did the Uncommon podcast with Dee and Hinano, which was I kind of asked them the question, and maybe I'll ask it to you too. Maybe I'll ask it now. Let's say David, you approached you either at a convention or maybe he just messaged you on Twitter. He's like, hey, Pixel Trader, I really like your stuff. I actually want to create a position for you at Vivi. I just don't know what position you would want me to create for you. Like if David, you could create a position or like a job for you at Vivi, like what would you want the role to be? Like what would you want your responsibilities to be?
First of all, I don't think I'd want to work for them. I'd want to be an investor on the outside and just kind of stay detached.
Because you are kind of hamstrung. If you work at Vivi, you can only buy a certain amount of collectibles like each month and all that. That's what Corey told me. Like I talked to him at.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. I talked to him at Decon, and he said like, like there's a lot of paperwork around like what they can buy and like how much and all that kind of stuff. So like
I believe right?
So they're kind of hamstrung with how much they can invest. So I mean, even with that aside, sorry, go ahead. You were kind of talking.
From a financial point, I probably would not want to work for them just because I want to spend my time doing, other things that are likely more profitable and invest in the company. I wouldn't have to want to deal with, some of the regulation or worries about insider information, all that stuff as well. But if I had to work for them, it would maybe be something with, technically I could do this now, not even work for them. It would be something about just bringing knowledge and expanding the importance of these collectibles with the crypto people, with the gaming people, with the Web3 people, with the real life. I still feel like there's a big disconnect from all these different fandoms. Like even now we have some real hardcore collectors for comics, but it's not that many, right? It's still like a totally untapped thing. And same with crypto. There's a lot of people who came in specifically directly through Omi, right? They're not real collectors. They're investors, right? They're just collecting stuff that they think is cool, but they're not like hardcore collectors. They're in it for Omi and they're in it for money or whatever. So maybe something like that, expanding the knowledge of like teaching people, here's what crypto is, here's what Web3 is, here's what the blockchain is, here's what FA means, here's like, and just kind of like make it easy for people to say like, hey, this is actually a big deal. This is really important. And maybe they have a background in gaming, but the example that I've been telling forever and other people say too is the Steam community marketplace and all these games on Steam. They make ungodly amounts of money selling digital items. Same with Fortnite, same with Call of Duty, all these other games sell all this digital stuff. You own none of it. You own not, if anything happens to your account, it's just gone, right? If you
Yeah.
break terms of service or you cheat or you do whatever something bad, like you don't own anything literally, and people are more than welcome to spend tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on these digital items. So I think that's a huge community that NFTs just scares them, right? They don't want to talk about it, they don't want to think about it. But we've already seen with Reddit, right? Reddit was like one of the biggest, as far as I know. I don't really use Reddit. One of the biggest haters on NFTs, and as soon as they called them digital collectibles and they had their own launch, they ate it all up. Like they loved it, right? They ate up all the Reddit NFTs, and now they're a little more in that ecosystem. So I think that would be me bridging the gap from normies or people in these different fandoms to bring them into the world of NFTs and Vivi and FAs and all that other collecting things that they
Mhm.
enjoy, and just make it easy for them. Don't make it complicated.
Yeah.
So that'd be my job, right? Basically, just increase the user base, the fandom, and all that other stuff.
Yeah. I think I said it on the Uncommon podcast. Mine would just be adding more tools and information on like the market. Like you said, like how much stuff is burned, even tools on like the market, like they allow people to like raffle off their collectibles, allow people to basically do like buy and sell orders.
Yeah.
I get why Vivi doesn't want to do that, because they don't want to have their platform look too much like a like a trading platform where people are like doing investing and this and that. Like they want to make it look like a collectible platform, keep the market super simplified. I get that. Also allow people to basically trade full sets, because I feel like people should be able to put a set together where like, hey, here's Walt, here's a lenticular card with Mickey, and then some other thing with like Mickey on it, right? Like, oh, this is my Mickey set. They're all matching mints, and I can put it all together and sell it all as one lump thing rather than individually, because it's all the same licensor. So I kind of hope at some point Vivi finds a way where you can kind of like group multiple collectibles.
Well, the thing is, I'm pretty sure almost everything you said is coming. Like I mean,
Yeah.
David, you had said from what I've heard at Comic Con, like
Sets,
talking to
yeah.
people, like you're going to be able to sell sets, you're going to be able to list them different ways. You're going to we wanted people to be able to bid. Like as far as I remember, he said that they want all these things as well. They just have to. The thing they also have to be careful of, they have all these awesome IP in the marketplaces in a certain place. You have to be careful when you throw out like a new feature that's just going to change up everything like crazy.
Yep.
If they just turned on trading all of a sudden, it would be nuts, and they probably wouldn't really want to. They don't probably want to do that right now. They want things to kind of settle down, hit their deadlines, hit their their bigger projects. I mean, they have to deliver on a lot of things before they kind of release the floodgates in my mind.
Yeah,
but I think a lot of that stuff is coming. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, because I think if they added like literally another, like you just go to someone's profile, because it's kind of hard to like, how would you guide someone towards buying a set, right? Like, all right, if there's a set involving C3PO, would you just see a random thing that shows sets, or like another tab? Or if you go to the person's profile and there's a little tab here that says, sets or whatever, you click on it and then it shows like your sets that you're selling, and you just have a buyout price, right? Or like a buy now price. Like, all right, anyone buys it for, I'm willing to sell this whole set for 500 gems instantly. You pay me 500 gems, you get the set, all the stuff. So
yeah, imagine on these tabs you see it just says for sale, and then it's just, you can just put things for sale. Maybe it's just like a little column or whatever it is.
And like a looking to buy column, right? Almost like a thing where it's like, I'm looking to buy these for these prices or whatever. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Now, right, on the market page, they will probably have a different way to make the market page easier to find things. Like you could buy full sets or low mints or just whatever, by genre. Like they'll make it easier. I mean, the way it is now, it's improved a lot for sure, but it's still pretty basic, right? If you really want to dig for stuff and spend money, you kind of still got to know what you're doing.
Yeah, because I feel like if let's say you wanted to buy C3PO and there's like another tab somewhere on the screen that says sets, and you click on it, then you can see all the sets that involve that C3PO. So whether it's a set with R2D2 or it's a set with a bunch of random vehicles or whatever, like, but the sets all have to be from the same IP. Like you can't mix Todd with a comic with, I don't know, like let's go like a Chaosium or like a other random IP. Because if you mix all the money together, if someone pays $5,000 for a set, it's like, all right, how does that money get divvied up? Did someone pay $4,000 for the Todd and $1,000 for everything else, or do they spend 100 gems on the Todd and 4,900 on everything else? Like, there's no way to divide it up. But if it's all going to the same licensor, it doesn't matter. Like the amount is tied to.
Yeah, or maybe they just have it broken up, and you get like a deal if you buy it, like anything, right? Like it's this price. this is this price, this is this price. You buy all three, I'll give you 10% off the whole thing or whatever it is, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I would leave that up to Vivi. I'm not too worried about it. I think there will be, people who want to buy sets. They want people who have done all the work for them versus having to shop around
Right.
forever. But
Okay.
the
Yeah.
other
So,
thing to think about is going to be a link that says like view in Vivi-verse. Like that's going to be there, right? Like you can look at C3PO
mhm.
and just say view in Vivi-verse when it's out for everybody, and you can look at it and experience it and be like, holy cow, that looks amazing. Yeah, I want this, right? Versus right now, you're just looking at a picture on your phone or your app, and that's all you got.
Yeah. So Woody here says certain comics are certain at the moment. So 25 SRs, 50 URs, 100 rares, uncommons, commons for okay. So there is like a flat amount that's done for comics, so that's good. And then he said for collectibles, he's not sure, but he thinks that there's 40 of each rarity, and then it's random after that.
That sounds about right. I remember
Okay.
something like that, so I think that's probably right.
Yeah. There's under 40 exotic banes on McFarlane. Everyone's hating on that platform, but I think they will turn around in sentiment. What do you think about the McFarlane platform? Like I don't know. It's like in a few words, but I mean, kind of, it's up to you.
I like it. I think Todd is obviously a legend in his own right. A lot of fans. I think Todd is a smart businessman, right? I mean, look at just the amount of physical collectibles he moves, and he did branch out into NFTs a while ago. I have the original, Spawn and all that stuff on Solana, and some other stuff he originally put on Solana. So I like that. I am glad that he is going into the digital realm and selling his versions of some of the. So far, it's been DC stuff, but it sounds like he has connections with a lot of other companies, which is great. It's just like Todd said himself, it's just a different way to collect. That's it. Like if you like it, you enjoy it, then collect on there, right? And I don't know about the drama and all that other stuff. I'm not involved with it. I don't really care. I'm more about the collecting and the tech side of it. But I think if Todd keeps it going, he supports it, then it's good for the whole ecosystem. I want a lot of other projects to do well. There's going to be bleed over from Vivi fam to other fams and all this other stuff. Like we want that stuff. I don't want McFarlane to die. I don't think it's like a serious competitor. So to me, it's like if you like that stuff, go on there, collect, and they have their own XP system, which is cool. So like anything, it's just another way, to be involved in other digital collecting. Like I said, I'm in a ton of other projects, and I'm pretty critical of them when I need to be, and a lot of times I end up coming back to Vivi or other stuff because they're just doing it better, in my opinion, in a lot of ways. But I still like collecting on other projects, whether it's Solana or OpenSea or just whatever.
Yeah.
Sandbox. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah, I did want to return back to Stan's question from a while ago. In your opinion, will comic collectors respect rare and ultra rare covers since they aren't original? We've kind of talked about this a few times, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I know with you, would you say you're probably more bullish on collectibles over comics, just in general?
It depends. So I can see a really strong bull thesis for both, right? So for collectibles, the bull thesis, or at least one of mine, is there's no ceiling. It's it's not directly correlated with anything in real life. I mean, even like the Todd statue has like a real statue, but you can't really compare. I mean, the Todd digital is like $700, $800, $900, right? It fluctuates. The Todd statue is like $100 something dollars. So automatically that doesn't translate, right? So there's like a no ceiling. You can talk about Vivi-verse and animation and updating the models and updating them to do different things. And there's kind of unlimited possibilities when it comes to the 3D collectibles, right? Like it really is whatever you can think of and the licensors are cool with, they could do with it. The comic books are in a different category, but one of the biggest bullish things about comic books is there's only one, right? The FA of whatever, Spider-Man, AF-15, there's only one. I mean, there's different cover variables or rarities, but there's only one. So that to me is kind of cool that there's going to be so many other, like, we already have a ton of Harley Quinns and Batman. I mean, there's going to be more and more and more. And I mean, there's just going to be an endless supply almost over the years of these characters. And that's when I think FA is going to become a bigger deal, when there's, 50 different versions of a character and the mint numbers are all over the place. And, the 3D and the quality is all over. I mean, there's going to be so many things to consider if you just want a Spider-Man. But if you want the Spider-Man comic book, there's one, right? The big thing I think that's holding them back, honestly, is just the mint size, right? And you can't do a whole lot with them. Although the Vivi-verse beta people, the beta testers are saying comics are in the beta. You can put them in your showroom. You can play with them. You can do stuff with them. I don't remember exactly about resizing and stuff. I think it's just covers for right now. But they're going to be able to put them in there. People are already making CGC, cases and showroom and like putting lights. I mean, they're making really cool displays from what I've heard for comic books already. but they're still comic books. So when they released the bird mechanic, which Alex had said, like, I don't know, months and months or maybe even years ago, like the original idea for birding was meant for comics, intentionally
Yeah.
made for comics, but we're not there yet. So I think when burning comes in and you can show off, your favorite comic books, and there's not, 25,000 commons, there's maybe like 10,000 commons or 5,000 commons or whatever, then it's gonna, like, the price will, you're gonna like it more when it's worth more money, right? Basically. And they can technically add utility to comics. They could technically, make it do things or give access or make clubs. And I mean, people could do whatever they want, right? There's already clubs that are kind of evolved from logo holders, a Miles High Club, and Disney clubs. And there's all kinds of clubs that are already there. Um, and some people, I think, are saying, well, there's a cap on the physical, or excuse me, the digital comics, because you can point to the physical, right, and say, well, 9.8 is worth whatever, like 250 grand, so the physical should never surpass that. Or the digital should not surpass that. I don't think that's going to be the case, but I can see a really, really good bullish sentiment for both, and I can see kind of a maybe a downside to both as well. So in my mind, again, it's like, why stack your cards on one, black or red? Just pick both and just do a little bit of both, and see what happens. But I have a good stack of. I think I still have more comics than collectibles still.
Yeah, and I think even in the comic community, or like in the realm, I think there's even exceptions to the rules, right? Where there's comics worth more because there's less of them and this and that. So it's like, I think it's a hard and fast rule that it's like, I mean, I think there's kind of like a somewhat natural hierarchy with like comics, like, okay, this FA is worth more than this and this, but also Rarity plays kind of like into that fact too. Like FA Groot is like pretty expensive just because there's so few of them, but it doesn't mean he's better than some of the other FA comics that are more recent. But it's just because he's so old and like there's so few of them, it's not worth more than I don't know how much like a Miles Morales comic is, like in a 9.8 or whatever. But like, I'm looking at Spider-Man here, and like you're looking here, like you said, like there's only 10,000 FA. And I think there's also the historical aspect of comics, right? Where it's like everyone loves Spider-Man, but it's like, all right, where did Spider-Man start? Like the concept of Spider-Man, like the whole idea started with the comic. That's kind of where it started. And so you're looking here, it's like there's 60,000 Spider-Mans, FA, like Peter Parker's. Like across all the rarities, there's like 60,000 of them. Maybe a little bit less than that or something like that. But like when it comes to comics, there's only like 10. So
well, the thing too is for the collectibles, when you see it, you have to like the way it looks, and maybe it's animated. Like there's a lot of things you have to like about a collectible before you buy it, right? For the comic book, this is why the commons are so popular, right? A lot of times the commons are more expensive than the uncommons, and sometimes even the rares, because your imagination, the comic book represents the character, then your imagination is just whatever, right? So for some people, you don't even have to care about, like, you love the cover. No, you just love the character, and your imagination is whatever you want it to be about that character, right? So for me, FA Hulk, the comic book, I don't think like the cover's the coolest thing ever, but I like Hulk for a bunch of different reasons, right? The movies, the video games, whatever. So to me, that's what the FA comic represents versus the collectible. You might look at FA Hulk collectible and be like, no, not me. Don't like it. It's ugly. Not touching it. So it's a completely different mentality for the same character.
Yeah, and people feel that same way about some other collectibles, right? Whether it's Lenectra or Storm or Thor, Thor, Buzz Lightyear. Like they're just like, it's not the same Buzz or whatever it is. Like I don't want that FA, because you can't screw up an FA comic because it's just the classic version and then the rare and ultra rare. But I guess kind of getting back to that question, like the rare and ultra rare covers, do you think those will keep going at a premium? I mean, like even now, like you look at AF-15, and I know AF-15 is kind of an anomaly in its own case and kind of like how it reacts.
By
but
the
like,
way, congrats on your AF-15 comment. I saw your tweet. It's
dude. Yeah, I've been trying to like wait for the perfect moment to buy it. Like there's a few times where I could have like just thrown cash in and just bought it right away. But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna wait for it to like pull back to like 300, because there's been quite a few times where it got like tested and stopped like right at 300 like 300 gems. Amazing Fantasy.
If that's true, Big A, then that's nuts. Jeez Louise.
Big A?
I just had SR Miles up on my thing, and I guess I was scrolling through and I missed it.
Oh. Jeff floored on, is that on accident? Is that for real, or are you trolling? I feel like
someone floored a $1 ultra Miles. Dang, that's crazy. I remember a while ago there when
Oh, it says, oh
Weird.
man, Jeff, it says pixel floored that you are Miles. Like you Florida Miles.
Oh, I thought
And
like
I
that's
misread
somebody's
that too.
name.
I'm like, I misread it we both misread it. I read it as Jeff Florida, and then you read it as like someone else Florida,
I
but
thought
we
it was like the
actually
guy's
naturalized.
name. Oh man, Jeff. Pixel.
No.
I'm like, who the hell's Oh man, Jeff? What?
Yeah, and at first I thought he said Jeff Florida. I'm like, did I just miss it? But no, he's trolling. He
All right.
trolled both
Well,
of us
I still
actually
like
in
it,
that
Big A.
scenario.
Got me excited. I was like, what?
Yeah, but yeah, because I was looking at Miles. Like this is so December 1st. Mile AF15 was at like 310. Stayed there throughout all of January. I think we're gonna have like another big pullback because December. We always know that's where the BB Christmas kind of event goes on for like 2.5 weeks. A lot of big drops. Usually they drop like one big comic, one huge like collectible, then like a handful of other ones that like okay might be kind of popular, and the rest are kind of like whatever, right? But it's been retested at like low 300s like multiple times. So I was like, you know what? I think like pretty much the floor on AF15. Like people have already kind of agreed, like, all right, this should never go below 300. So that's kind of
Yeah,
why
and if
I
it
bought
does,
it
it'll
then.
get scooped up. I think there's plenty of people that have a number in their mind, and obviously round numbers, right? If it's 299 or 295, like people are just gonna grab it very very quickly. So yeah, you pretty much got it. Almost the lowest it's been
Yeah.
in a long time.
Yeah. So Poppy, thanks for stopping by, dude. And yeah, it's the FA discussion. It's good. It kind of makes me want to circle back around and grab some of the like, season one FAs, like Harley Quinn, Joker, Batgirl, some of the other ones, because they're so cheap now compared to where they used to be. So kind of makes me want to circle back and buy those or like repurchase those here in the near future. But
Yeah, they have a lot of great FAs, and if you think about comic grails, like
yeah.
I've been saying a while, I was in a space with I think my collectibles and some other people a while ago, and I had, they're talking about the next grail, this, that, and I'm kind of just did the math, and I'm like, we have a lot of grails. Like, if you're waiting for the next grail forever, like, you're sleeping on some huge ones we already have. Like,
The
there's
Joker's
not
huge.
there's not a ton of FA grail comics that even collectibles. We have a ton of huge FA grails already,
Yeah.
especially for comics, right? I mean, AF15 is massive, Hulk is I mean, we
Yeah.
have
What do you,
top
what do you,
tier grails.
yeah, what I was going to ask is, what do you think is the most slept on like FA collectible right now, or one that you think no one's paid attention to in a long time? Might not be like the cheapest right now, but it's like, like no one's brought up this collectible or this thing in like a long time. For me, it's Joker. I was kind of surprised. I'm like, bro, like no one's talked about Joker in like a really long time.
The funny
Probably
thing is,
because
yeah, Joker's
yeah.
definitely up there. I think for some people they just don't like the way he looks and they just pass right away.
Mhm.
Um, although FA Stan Lee has had, and people don't really like the Mighties. A lot of people think don't like the Mighties, don't care for him. It's still FA Stan Lee. So and the mints are pretty low compared to a lot of other stuff. So that's I think Stan Lee, if it gets low enough, people can build some pretty crazy stacks. If it
Mhm.
wasn't, even if it wasn't a mighty, if it was like a regular whatever statue collectible, it would be crazy expensive. The fact that it's a mighty and it was $15, I think, is helping keep it down. That
Yeah.
one, I think Joker's another good one. I still think if I still believe this. The golden moments are very special. By every checklist, golden moment checks every single box except mint numbers. Like literally every box. For like popularity, A plus, right? Looks, A plus. To the licensor and the FA and the character and the IP, A plus, A plus. I mean, these are very, very special to Disney. The only thing holding them back is the mint number. So if they do anything about a burn mechanic or combining them to, craft them to get some other item or just whatever, like the golden moments could go nuts because it's like, it's just the mint numbers are really, really holding
Mhm.
them down. So the fact that you can get some of these like insane FAs for like, $40, $50, $100 to me is like, that is nuts, right? Especially in this market. Even if the mints didn't change, they should do very, very well in a bull market. But
Yeah.
if they do any kind of crafting, minting, or something to give them utility or just whatever, which Alex has said, like the gold moments will have their day, and they're talking to Disney apparently about doing something special with them. I think people forget too. Disney Gold Moments, I believe, were the first utility on the app. They gave you a month of Disney Plus, so
Hmm.
it's kind of a fun fact. But
Yeah.
if you just look at those and you forget the mints, I mean, they are. And from what I've heard from the Vivi Vault or Vivi-verse people, the Gold Moments look insane, like sparkly
Yeah.
golden, like reflecting gold. I mean, it sounds like they look incredible. So that's one. Some of the cheaper gold moments I think are probably slept on too, and people are buying them to hold them for sure. Again, it's just the mints are so high. There's always people willing to floor them. But if that wasn't the case, I mean, they could go pretty nuts.
Yeah. Just to capture with chat really quick, Slav says season 1 is forgotten at the moment, but still it will always be season 1. True. Pixel, what are your thoughts on SR Thanos? Seems way too low. Well, yeah, we'll answer that in a second here. Which brand has the most fandom? I mean, it's probably Pokemon. Yeah, and not that I don't want to talk about Pokemon because I feel like it's just been beat to death. And plus, I mean, I don't know a ton about Pokemon personally. Like I haven't been like in the fandom and all this stuff like as much as like Randy or some other people that are more into it. Like I watched the anime when I was like younger. I understand like the fanatical popularity of like Pokemon. So that one's probably the biggest one. I agree on Joker. I picked one up not too long ago. It's a sleeper. I think so too. And then Froey Comey, what's up? Vivi vibes. Good evening, brother. What are your thoughts on Avengers 1 possibly dropping on Vivi soon? I think it's huge. I think it's been, even though we got Hulk not too long ago, it has been a while since we've gotten like, all right, let's get a comic where we're all excited about, maybe stack some commons, maybe you'll get lucky and get an SR. I will admit, if I do get an SR Avengers #1, I will sell it. There are other things I do want to buy and start stacking for. So like if I get it, I will sell it. I'll grab like a couple of commons and some. I like the Avengers. I'm not obsessed with it. I think everyone knows like X-Men, Wolverine, all that stuff is my thing. And even I mean, I like other stuff too a lot. But like if I get an SR Avengers 1, I'll sell at what I think is like a good price. Get some other things I do want. Yeah, that's my thing. I know you're a big collector. I don't need to ask you, Pixel Trader, like what would you do if you got an SR Avengers 1?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a big deal. People are gonna still use, the secret rare. I mean, of course, it depends on the mint size, right? 10,000 mints or 7,500 is much different than 20 or 30 or 50,000. But I think it's one of those. It's one of those collectibles, or sorry, it's one of those comics where everyone's probably going to go out of the way to buy like at least 2 commons, right? Like it's just one of those where the common floor is going to be really strong because everyone just wants to have like 2 or 3 commons, and then maybe you care about ultra rares or secret rares, but like it's going to be very popular. It brings more excitement to the app and comics in general. Maybe we'll see a small dip across the comics for people that want it, but it's a big deal. It's just another one of those things that Vivi's checking off. Like, oh, another big comic. It's on Vivi. Now we got it.
Yeah, and it's not that I don't believe in like SR comics, but if the trend follows anything, that's what's happened for the last like 2 years on Vivi, where it's just like a lot of hype for a comic or collectible, it skyrockets. It kind of starts plateauing, then it like pulls back, and then pulls back until there's another like obscure announcement that might involve utility with this or Vivi-verse or whatever. Then okay, it does a bit of a rebound. I think like there's only like a very small handful of collectibles that have gone up and stayed up, and like Miles is one of them. Just because like the absurdly low like Rarity, like Self-Made I think is another one. Like there's like very few collectibles that are like, since it's been released, it's done nothing but go up. Maybe it plateaued and gone down a little bit, but like overall it's been green. So that's why I'm like,
pretty hard to get there because everyone has their price, right? And you never know people's life situations, and even if something really expensive, even SR Miles, right? There's some people who want it on drop, and so for them, 12 grand is plenty of money, and then maybe 20 grand is more than enough, right? Because they literally got it for whatever, $50. Like some people, they think it's crazy to sell it, but other people are like, dude, for me, this is 100% profit. I'm gonna take it and do something else with it.
Or thousands of percent in profit. So there's also that too. Thanks for doing the stream, guys. Lots of good info. Thanks, Crazy Dan 420. And then Poppy. It's cool that Disney is being creative and experimenting with the experimental utility. That is true. And I will say like the quality of the collectibles for both like Marvel and Disney have like gone up quite a bit, which is nice.
Well, here's the thing too. Everyone thought utility, all these other, what crafting, burning, or what, everyone thought this is going to be independent artists, right? Like the big guys aren't going to do it. Disney and Marvel aren't going to do this. It's too much red tape. But what are we talking? Disney's the one who started like almost all of it, right? Like Disney's the one who started crafting and burning and utility, and Disney's literally leading the way. And so that to me is another bullish thing that Disney's all about, like enjoying this new future tech and everything. And I think that it wouldn't be far fetched to see Disney. We already saw. Did you watch the Apple Pro? The new AR headset thingy.
Yeah, I did.
They brought Disney up there, which is a huge deal that Disney's directly, they got that much airtime on the Apple show. I mean, that's huge. And Disney
Mhm.
is, or actually, in Vivi's in pockets with Disney, right? So it wouldn't be far fetched to say that if things progress along and Disney's happy with how things are going and the space grows and the headsets get cheaper and the tech gets better, like Vivi could, become a bigger and bigger part of that. And Disney, I don't know, people say they might get bought out by Disney. I don't know about that because there's a lot of other factors, but you want Disney to be your friend, right? Like you want Disney
Yeah.
to be pushing the envelope with you, and like they obviously believe in the team and the project a lot. So I mean, that alone is an unbelievable catalyst that Disney's that bullish on the future of the tech in Vivi.
I'm just kind of going way back. I'm trying to get back to like season 1 collectibles here and just take a quick look at those
Black and
because
white series.
yeah, there's just like a lot of stuff where I think people are like we kind of talked about before, like what are some FAs people are sleeping on, like we said earlier. I don't think anyone's talked about Joker in a long time. No one's talked about Harley Quinn like in a very long time. Um, some of these Ultraman FAs. I know Ferrari Comey and a few others are like huge fans of like Ultraman and stuff like that. Um, DeLoreans. I don't know. Also Superman too. I feel like people haven't really talked about Superman all that much. I think it's just because it's high mints, but
Superman is, I mean, think about the Superman comic. I mean, he's like the quintessential character of superheroes for all superheroes. Like he's the guy who
yeah.
started it for like everyone, for comics, for characters, for movies. Like so
Mhm.
he's like the face of the whole superhero, empire now that exists. So yeah, the fact that his mints are kind of high, but if you remember a long time ago, and I don't know if it was a TikTok video or something was leaked from VV's talking about Superman would have like different color capes or like outfits,
Gosh,
or he could
God, I
hold
remember that
things.
so long ago.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's literally, I mean, it's not far fetched to say, yeah, it's probably gonna happen later. Like maybe it's, a special drop for certain ticket holders, right? Where you need like a silver or like a bronze ticket, or I don't know, whatever. They could do whatever they want. But that's the other thing that's kind of exciting is they have the FAs and now they can do whatever they want with them, right? Like a
Yeah.
golden
I
cape or whatever, put something in his hand or change his suit to a dark suit or whatever they want.
Yeah, I do. I used to really like, and I still do. I still really like Dragon Girl. Like they're like the common used to be pretty cheap. I remember trading those for hundreds of gems back in the day and flipping them. I think I remember trading common Dragon Girl for like between like 250, like 300, or like 350 for like a while. Like trading it, like flipping it. I'd buy it like low, then sell it high, then like did that a couple times. I don't know, like a lot of the season 1 stuff definitely has a charm to it. I just kind of wish Vivi kept the whole FE thing. I think it would have given a lot of these earlier collectibles a bit more of like a charm and collectability if a lot of just random like vehicles and characters had like this FE tag. And we're like, what's up with that? But like, oh, early days of Vivi was just kind of like that. But now, I understand they have to make everything uniform and like make sense. But in the real world, there's like misprinted cards. They print too much or too little of something, or something's printed upside down, or a figurine is missing its backpack or the missile or whatever. Like that's kind of also a thing with like Boba Fett and other stuff. Like that's kind of what gives it a lot of its charm and value. But I think that's kind of
people get caught up on like the little nitty, like, well, this one drop or this one thing. It's like,
yeah.
what about the bigger picture? There's so
Mhm.
many drops. There's so many things. Like, don't get freaked out about one thing that VV messed up. That's every business. That's every
Yeah.
startup. You have to look at the bigger picture. And are they addressing it and improving it? Yes. Are you going to get caught up on this one thing and quit or sell at the bottom? Like, or I don't know, right? But to me, like, I just try to be objective and say, yeah, that was unfortunate. Are they going to fix it or not? And is it going to, is it to me, I haven't seen anything that's a big enough deal to be like, I'm running for the hills. I'm pulling my money. I haven't seen anything like that. I've seen challenges and bumps in the road and delays, but I haven't seen anything that's like I have to reevaluate and jump ship and
Yeah.
whatever. Like a lot of other projects, I'm like I'm jumping ship. Like there's certain things I see like I'm out. Like no way. This is not. I'm not. I'm gonna get off this ship that's starting to sink before it goes down. And unfortunately, we've seen that, right? I mean, I can think of like 5 other projects, legit projects that are either so dead they barely exist, there's no volume, or they are literally dead, like they went under, like they're gone. And it's not trying to poke fingers at other people that didn't make it, but it's just kind of the reality of it's not as easy as it looks, right?
Yeah. Do you think the fact that these collectibles obviously are digital, do you think that's a benefit or a potential hindrance of the fact that hey, if there is a mistake with the collectible, we could just fix it, you know? Or let's say with like the Elsa golden moment, they're like, oh, there's a little pen on the bottom of the shoe, and that's like really cool. And some people bought it for that reason. They're like, oh, it's Walt's pen, and it could be like an Easter egg or whatever. And then, you know, let's say 2 weeks later, Vivi's like, yeah, actually, that was a mistake. We're gonna fix it so it looks normal. Like, do you think Vivi? Do you think that's like a benefit? The fact that they can kind of quote unquote fix things, or maybe like, all right, this Captain America doesn't look good anymore. We're gonna give it like a visual update. Like, do you think it's good the fact that like Vivi can kind of update or change our digital collectibles? Or do you think they should just kind of leave them as they are and be like, hey, like you minted it this way, I bought it because it looks this way. You guys are changing it, or you guys are fundamentally doing this. Do you think that's like a benefit or a hindrance? Or somewhere in between?
I think it's a benefit because at the end of the day, you want the FA, and I know, and I think Vivi's smart enough to know they're not just going to go changing a bunch of collectibles without people knowing it. Maybe there's a way to opt in, like it says, "Hey, here's version 1, here's version 2." You know, they're being split up. They're both FA. This is the original. This is if it's a dramatic change, like worth doing that, right? And you get to choose to change it or not. That way, you have control. But I think for there, I mean, the Vivi's already done. I think there's been like 1 or 2 collectibles that they did update and change, and they fixed something. I don't remember what it was. I saw in another stream that Vivi has already gone back and updated some collectibles that for whatever reason that they wanted to fix them. So that's you have an empty slate. Although the content has been made, the fact that like you said, you could change it and do whatever you want with it in the future. Like say I don't know, in the future they want to upgrade a character, and upgrade the polygons, or upgrade a texture, or change or improve the whatever, some aspect of the item, they can do that, right? So, you know, we've already seen the quality of the collectibles has changed a lot. I think they're getting better and better and better. So, I mean, the fact that you can update it with the times, to me, is a good thing, right?
Speaking of, actually, I wanted to kind of go back to a question that Big A asked you earlier. I kind of overlooked it until now. What are your thoughts on SR Thanos? Seems way too low.
What is he at right now? Thanos, like 400 or something?
SR. He's at 369. Let's see if I can pull up a chart of him too, like what he's done in the past.
The thing is, his floors are kind of low. The thing that's kind of different with the Thanos, like with every airdrop, is you don't know what people paid to get them, right? So for me, I bought the Secret Agamottos like a long time ago when they were like 180 something dollars or whatever. So for me, the fact that they pumped up to whatever, I don't know, $700, $800, like I'm not paying that. So to me, Thanos could go pretty darn low before like I'm in the negative, right? So for some people, even though it's like 360, they're still in the green. They're still profitable. So that's just something to take into account, is that it might look low depending on some of the prices that the items got up to that you had to buy them, right? If you had to buy them when they pumped to make a Thanos, but some people got them way before then, so to them they're still in the profit. But as a character, he's an awesome character. I think it's just the same old thing. The mints are kind of high. People get bored with things so quickly. It's like the hot thing for like 2 days, and people get bored and they just want gems, so they just dump them. And that's just the cycle in like a down market. That's just doesn't even matter what it is. I mean, literally, unless the mints are so low, it's impossible to do it. Like people are going to dump stuff in a down market. So I think though he could fly. I mean, I think he has a good chance to fly. You know, you know, when things turn around, like in a bull market, because his mints aren't super high. They're a little bit high, but he looks cool. I'm sure in the Vivi-verse he looks amazing, like with his gold armor and everything. And maybe the fact that there's 2 of them, people just want a Thanos. Maybe they just get the cheaper one. Like they just call it, you know, I'm done. And Thanos, I don't think is like crazy popular. I know people like the movie. Endgame, you know, was a fantastic movie, and Thanos was introduced to a lot of people finally in that whole series. But it's hard. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know if I'd say like he's super undervalued, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back to like 400s or 500s. Like, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, and especially with Thanos, and I think this is also part of the reason why, like, his comic hasn't gone up in real life either, like too much, because the whole story arc of Thanos has kind of been told. Like we you know, we did Endgame, we did you know, pretty much everything that led up to that story with him, right? Like his arc is over. I think that's why people are so excited for Miles, because, you know, heroes can, you know, you can tell multiple stories with them. That's why typically FAs of heroes, there's so many stories with them, keep going. But like Miles, people are thinking like, yo, Miles is a story that Marvel might keep telling for the next like 10, 15, 20 years. You know, like he's still like kind of just budding. Like he's been around, he's been in the comics, but like now he's in the, you know, into the Spider-Verse and all that stuff. So it's like, I think that's kind of why maybe
What?
people are more interested in. I mean, also Miles collectible itself is like absurdly low price, but just in general,
Yeah, and I
it's kind
think
of
at
like,
the end
all
of the
right,
day,
yeah,
it is mints too, right? Like if the mints were cut in half, obviously these would both be worth a lot more, right? But I think the fact that if I had to guess, a lot of people like villains, right? For the most part, a lot of people think villains are cool, like Doctor Doom and Thanos, and like all these. They have some
mm,
really badass villains, but at the end of the day, I think some people they want to if they're going to pretend to be someone, they pretend to be the hero. They want to be the Wolverine, they want to be the Miles, right? They want to be the Captain America. They don't want to be like I want to be like Thanos, right? I want to be like Doctor Doom. You'll think he's cool, but I don't think people like see themselves as the villains very often, like they do with the super like the good guys. So I think that's
mhm,
part of it too. Maybe is that people think he's cool and they like him, but they're not going to chase him as hard as they would like a Miles or a Spider Man or Captain America or something like that.
yeah.
I could be wrong because a lot of people do collect villains like physical collectibles, and they have like variants of villains on comic book covers. But
Hmm. Let's see here. What else? Big A says he completed the SR mile. He got the SR miles on drop and completed the set for 700. Nice.
smart man,
Uh,
that's the cheapest way to make like the best
yeah.
set on the app, in my opinion. Like that's the
Hmm.
way to do it.
Will
Big
only
A,
be
are you in the Miles Club? Are you in the Miles High Club, Big A? I don't.
should be. I feel
Might,
like all those guys are hopefully together. How many people are in the group? I know you're in the group, but like,
uh,
does it show like if there's like 30 members, 50,
yeah, I
20?
can look. There's a little over 60,
Okay.
and
All right. So it's even then, that's still like less than half of like the ones available to the public, unless people stack multiples. But even then, yeah, that's still a lot of people not in the club.
I'm not big on like groups, like private groups. But if you're a fan of, I mean, we talk about whatever. We talk about all kinds of stuff, not just
Yeah.
Miles in there, but
Yeah. Will only be used to purchase land in the Vivi-verse. I don't know.
according to what I heard last, the gold tickets are going to be part of buying land. So yeah.
Yeah. And then No Trouble
And that's a whole
says,
other. If you guys know about Axie Infinity and other land and other games, the prices of land can go absolutely nuts. If Vivi does it right, and they time it right, and the market's hot and all that stuff, like land in Vivi-verse could go, pretty crazy. So that's another whole catalyst that's not even like on the table or anyone's roadmap really.
yeah. So it should be an addition, in my opinion, not a replacement of the old. This is when we were talking about,
Updating,
yeah,
collectibles.
like updating collectibles. Yeah. And then Vivi has made very little changes, to be honest. In some ways, yes, but also in a lot of ways, no. It really depends on what context we're talking
Depends on
about,
how
right?
you're looking at it. If you're looking at the
Yeah.
company, they've made a lot of changes. They 10x their size. They're hitting deliverables much faster. They're working and networking. They told us about a new marketing plan, a new blockchain team, and they're going to go after specific fandoms. I mean, they've changed a lot in that aspect. I think most people would say, they've earned more, kind of like people's like respect. They trust them more, like to hit deliverables and this and that. But if you're talking about like an outsider just kind of watching and just playing the market, like in that aspect, you might feel like not a whole lot has changed. But if you're in the nitty gritty of like all the VV stuff and Omi, then I would say a good amount has changed in the last couple of months, especially with Mitch. Mitch coming on was a big game changer.
Yeah. I just had Steve Rogers and also Ben Riley pulled up here. Those are just kind of more FAs I think people haven't talked about in a long time. I still don't own a Steve Rogers. I mean, I know he's at like 12, 13 gems right now, but there's just so many mints. I'm like not in a rush to like buy him. I don't know why. I feel like he could get down to like 10 gems or even lower, and I'm like, all right, I'll buy it then. Ben Riley, in some ways, I actually kind of like the look of Ben Riley, like the suit, slightly more than the Peter Parker like classic. Maybe it's just the poses I like a bit more because it definitely looks more like acrobatic and just kind of like very like wild looking versus Spider-Man. But the Spider-Man classic poses are awesome with Peter Parker. There's another picture. We talked earlier about we didn't kind of dig into it, but like rare and ultra rare covers on comics. Do you think collectors are gonna like pay a premium for them, or do you think they're just gonna focus on just the classic like common covers?
It just depends on the secret rare and the commons. Again, if the commons are pumping high enough, uncommons and rares and ultras are going to start looking cheap. Or if the secret rare is so expensive, it's like 50 times the ultra rare. Now the ultra rare looks cheap and it's going to pull it up, right? But I
Yeah.
do think if you get more comic heads or whatever you want to call them, comic fans that
Hmm.
are that care about that stuff, of course they should do well because in theory, if you love whatever, like you have their Amazing Fantasy 15, if you love that and you want to get like a nicer, more rare version of it, you have to go to like ultra rare, rare, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and some people like that route. So there's just going to be so few of them. I mean, right now most
Mhm.
people just focus on the commons and maybe secret rares. They just everything in between is kind of like just an MCP play for a lot of people. But yeah, especially on the AF-15 and some of that, it's always been weird to me that the ultra rare, or excuse me, the uncommon has such fewer. I mean, it's pretty much cut in half each time, right? As you go to the more rarity,
Yeah.
and the common is still far more expensive than the uncommon on AF-15.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think it's just the classic full color cover of it that really interests people. Sometimes even the mints are cut in by like a third. I know for fantastic.
I think we will eventually hit a critical mass where either people are done flooring the uncommons and have been just stacking and stacking and stacking the uncommons for so long now
Yeah.
there's not enough cheap ones and it's going to pump, or it could just be the common pump so hard that the uncommon now is half the price and it's going to have to come up with it.
Yeah, because I know with like I believe it's Fantastic for number 8. I think it's Kang. I think that one has like 6,000 commons and then like 2,000 uncommons. Like it goes down by like a third, and then it gets even
Yeah,
cheap, like less than there.
the
I
king
know like
one,
the
the ultra rare is like the mint size of like a secret rare and it looks like a secret rare, the king ultra
yeah,
rare.
yeah, with the white cover and everything. Um, yeah, so it just depends. I don't think you can go wrong collecting any of them. Because there's going to be comic collectors out there that love the classic cover, but maybe like the black and white, so they like the uncommons. Some people might love the exclusive covers. I mean, I remember I still am in a lot of ways. I still really, really like the ultra rare covers because the mint sizes are still pretty darn low, like 250 or like 300 or 400, like overall. Plus, it's an exclusive color cover. And so there's some comic heads out there that like love exclusive covers that no one else has, or this or that. Um, so it kind of depends, and I guess it depends on the comic too, because I know a big thing for in the comic community, like kind of not so much a meme, but I know they talk a lot about how a lot of these exclusive covers sometimes just don't hold value as much as just getting the classic cover and just kind of being done with it. It's like, all right, is it worth paying the premium to get a 1 to 25 or like a 1 to 100 like cover versus just like getting a stack of the commons or like the classic covers and
Yeah,
selling them that way?
I think too, if you're buying ultra rares in particular, I think a lot of people buy rares now just like because the MCP, right? But sometimes the
Mhm.
rare is pretty cool. To me, still to this day, the FA Carnage, like the whole set of rarities, looks amazing. I think it's Amazing Spider-Man 361. That to me is one where like I actually liked every every rarity cover enough till I wanted to buy them. Like each one looked to me just fantastic.
All 5 of these covers look pretty good.
What happens on some of the other ones is I like maybe one of the covers or two, and like the other ones I don't really like. So like I don't want to buy a cover just because it's less mints, right? Unfortunately, but it, if we get a pump and you want a really cool comic book cover and you can't afford the secret rare, your next best bet for getting a rare version is going to have to be ultra rare. So you're probably going to pay a nice premium in the
Yeah.
future just because there's so less of them. But
Well, yeah, and I will say this: anyone that's using or they're kind of like they're kind of just looking for cool covers or like kind of cover hunting. I love using my NFT tracker. It is by far and away the best like platform or like website to use to find like whatever you want. I love the fact that you can go to like you just click on comics rare and then you can like max floor 8 gems, and this way you can only see comics that are like rare comics that are at or below 8 gems, and you can either organize it by like price or release date or whatever it is. And so sometimes I go in here and I'm like, man, there's some like cool looking FAs or covers or art or whatever it is.
I
For
think too
this.
the thing with comics is that there's no way to enjoy them or show them off besides just pulling them up on your
Yeah.
phone, right, or your what app. But in the Vivi-verse, which the beta's already out, and we know you can put comics in there. Like I said, I mean that
Mhm.
maybe you can make a whole wall of ultra rares, and it's like amazing, and maybe you can blow them
Yeah.
up or zoom in or do stuff with them, and like then it's like you can enjoy the art and you can enjoy it in a whole other. Maybe you have a I always envision like maybe have a Spider-Man room, but there's like collectibles in the middle, and the wall has comic books and the lighting, and like you can do different things, and they like make like one room or hallway, like an homage to a character, and the comic books are part of that. That's a
Mhm.
whole other level of experience versus just you have 3 ultra rares and here's a picture of a cover and that's all you got, right?
Yeah, I would love to. I would love it if they. I mean, and the dream scenario is like, all right, Vivi goes all out. They start like animating covers. They start doing some other things. I know when I was talking with D, Hinano, and Froe Komi during that podcast, the Uncommon podcast, we were talking about, hey, like they, I think D and Hinano wanted to do like a comic club, and I'm like, oh, that sounds really cool. And I would love for them to like the idea I had for like a game to play. It's like if people have comics and you can kind of like flip through the pages or whatever. There's a game that you could play where you know, it's like maybe you have a minute and you're trying to find like the best looking art, like in a random comic. So you're like going through your comics, or like, all right, whoever show on your comic like the best looking like art, and people vote like what they think is the best looking cover. Another game we played, and I think they used to do it for like, kind of like remember TF2 like spy crabbing kind of stuff. But imagine
Yeah.
someone like in a server with like a gauntlet, and every time they snap their fingers, like half the server disappears, and they're like, "All right, the last man standing gets a cool like giveaway or whatever." So every time they snap their fingers, like half the people disappear, that half, and then it goes to like 4, then 2, then 1, then whoever's the last one standing gets like a cool giveaway or something like that. So it's like I do think Vivi-verse could have a lot of fun um,
Well,
utility.
that's
Things
the
like
beauty
that.
about being digital. The sky is the limit. And early on when I heard about the Vivi-verse, I talked in a space. I think Ryan might have been in there and some other VV people. I was saying, because everyone was kind of like hesitant about the Vivi-verse, and I don't know, and let's just push it down the line. And the Vivi-verse is supposed to be the grand finale. Let's not rush it because it could be a disaster and all this other
Mm.
stuff. And I remember saying, like, it's not supposed to be like a AAA game. I don't think we're expecting that, but just give the community the tools to make amazing stuff with scripting, make it like a level designer, give us the tools to do whatever we want, and then let the community run with it, because that's going to be a million times bigger and better than just like a corporation just making a cookie cutter, here's your experience,
Yeah,
go draw, drag and drop stuff, because we've seen that in everything. We've seen it in Gary's mod, Counter-Strike. The community just take over and make all these mods and custom maps and custom experiences that, the founders or creators probably never even thought of, right? And it just takes a
mm,
whole life of its own. And when that's what we're seeing, and I wouldn't be surprised if in the Vivi-verse, like you said, you could have like a roller coaster, an experience. You could have, games and gambling and, hide and seek, or you're racing. Like literally the sky is the limit. And if they have, a way to, burn Omi or transfer stuff, like you could do whatever you can imagine. You can probably make it a real thing. And, and the big thing missing from all these other verses, whatever you want to call them, metaverses, like Decentraland, Sandbox. I've been in there. I've played in there. I spent a lot of time in there. I know how the level design and all that stuff works, and I've played with that for a little bit. There's just nobody in there because they don't have like communities, right? It's just reality. There's some really cool stuff, but there's nobody in there. The thing Vivi has is the community. So give us the tool, give us the world, and just we will bring that in there. So wouldn't be surprised at all if once the ball gets moving and the Vivi-verse, more people have it all, the beta's done or whatever, maybe it's phase one, and there's thousands of people or hundreds of people in there,
yeah,
that's going to be a big headline versus whatever other metaverse has got 36 people in there at peak hours versus the VD. We have an event in there or whatever, some kind of celebration, and there's 3,000 people in there or 10,000 or whatever. That's going to be a
yeah,
big deal. I mean, then all of a sudden the token is the metaverse token, which back to the last bull run, anything revolving metaverse whatsoever was just pumping like crazy. Vivi is going to be,
mm,
or excuse me, Omi, I think is going to be the token of a lot of stuff, including a metaverse token, right?
yeah. And gosh, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something about I don't know. I forgot. Let's see here. What he says. What do you think about other comic book brands and characters like Tarzan? Personally, I'm not too interested in them. It would be kind of cool if we did get some stuff like Hellboy or Predator versus Aliens. There's a couple other like cool. I know some people are like huge Walking Dead fans. Like obviously people. I know like Sleeping Comics and a handful of other people like love Walking Dead. So there's some like other cool um, like comic I don't know what you call them, producers or companies that make comics that would be cool to like have on the app, or basically like non Marvel comics. I think they're okay. Not a huge fan of like the Disney comics either. Nothing against them. It's just I'm just not personally interested. So
Well, here's the thing. Vivi has set up the platform. That's what they're smart. That's why I'm saying we're going to be the Walmart, right? We're going to be the store. We're going to be. So now any comic book company or independent artist can just say, hey, you've already built the whole thing. I just need to come to you. Let's agree upon the terms and like let's make it right. Versus
Yeah.
what with the whole Todd McFarlane thing. They have Trevor and other people that know what they're doing. They could take him through the steps and build it out. And here's how MetaMask and here's how Matic work. Like they can kind of do the tech stuff and do it that way. But for a lot of these other smaller places, independent artists, they're not going to want to do that, or that they don't, they're scared of it, or for whatever reason. But Vivi's like, we have the platform. You just got to come to us, and we can release. So there's literally an unlimited amount of
Yeah.
IP, artists, characters. I mean, it's just
And for them,
anyone and
it's a
everyone can be on here. So all these little niche communities can jump on too, because the platform is built for them just to jump in and go.
yeah, and for them, it's a no-brainer. They're like for the licensors, they're like, wait, we can re-release old content to an already established community, and we get royalties forever as long as they just keep trading it. And they're like, yeah, like, all right, what
Yeah,
are we
I
waiting for?
forgot
Like,
who it was. It might have been you actually. I don't forgot who it was saying like in the future if VD goes to where a lot of people think it can go, and the Vivi-verse becomes a thing. I mean, there could be entire channels dedicated to just like one fan base or one niche inside Vivi, and like that's all they cover is like whatever,
yeah,
like Marvel inside Vivi or this independent artist, collection inside Vivi, and like that's their whole, kind of channel. Versus now, it's just kind of it's kind of broad. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. There's so many fandoms. If you look on Twitter and Instagram, I mean, there's just fandoms all over the place of really really cool stuff, and very few of them have gone digital yet, so they could.
yeah. And I think that for me, that's like the biggest thing. Like when I feel like whenever I explain like NFTs like VV to certain people, they're like, okay, like I don't know, it's just a digital collectible, like whatever. Like even if you don't take it from the consumer side, the companies are so motivated to make this work. Like either add utility, do more drops of FAs, do some cool stuff with the collectibles or whatever it is. Like they're motivated to do this because they're like a lot of these companies are tired of selling like either physical products or whatever it is, where like they get bought, then they get sold in like a secondary market for thousands of dollars, and they don't see a dime of that, right? Like you look at Miles Morales, like comics, right? Like relatively new comic in like the grand scheme of things of comics, but it's like all those stores bought it for probably a few bucks, $1,000, whatever the hell the comic was worth day one, and then now people are selling them on the market or eBay or whatever for hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, and Marvel sees none of that secondary profit, right? Secondary sales, and so they're just motivated now. Like, wait, hey, we can re-release old content, so we have to come up with new stuff. The digital development is very easy to do, and we can just make profit on this forever as long as people keep trading this, and as long as we keep, and they can almost use the money that they get from buying all these Vaders and stuff. Now they can add utility to Vader because people are buying these in the secondary. Like, okay, well, Vader gave us $5,000 a day or whatever it is. Like say the market's just going nuts. They can just use that money to apply more utility for Vader holders and like keep encouraging people to buy and sell and trade it and rent it out and all that stuff. So that's kind
Yeah,
of
I
my
mean,
take.
it's an overused term, but it literally is a no-brainer for business. So it's like you already have an IP, you already have a fan base. There's no storage. It's digital. You can update and do it. You can control the scarcity. You get forever, adjust the utility for your fans, keep your fans happy, and do things with it. And you get royalties in perpetuity for like. How can you say no to that? You already made the product. I mean, there's no
Yeah.
extra legwork besides making a couple of decisions and then turn on the money printers for the company, right? Which is what you want. And of course, too, for their fans. I mean, they're happy to collect and enjoy their products in different ways too. I mean, we've already seen Marvel Unlimited and these other things. I mean, it's a natural transition, right? It's the NFT word is scary, but if you remove that, it's just a natural transition. Everything's going digital.
Yep. I agree. Stan cut out a quick question here. Does Vivi have exclusive rights to Cavernous digital rights, or does Cavernous share Vivi design with competitors? Thanks. I have no idea.
I'm
Even
not
if
sure. I would assume some of these companies that have kind of like a cookie cutter, like you can buy, this or this, and then you just get access and just do whatever you want, right? I would guess for their bigger contracts, they have special privileges and things that they put in there, and they give them different access, and
Mhm.
there's certain. I mean, I'm trying to think of an example maybe that I can think of in the real life. Like I know for in the previous for work, we work with software companies. They had, like I said, they're kind of generic packages, but then for the big companies, like say Apple wants to use their software, they make a different kind of product for them, and they specialize it around them because
Yeah.
it makes so much money and it's such a big client. They kind of put them in a separate category. I would assume it would be like that in some version, that they would give the Vivi-verse, kind of a different deal than just your regular out of the box
Yeah,
package.
they do that at like my work too. There's like for different levels of investors. So if you buy a mutual fund at the $3,000 level, that's kind of like the entry level. That's like the investor shares, and then at $50,000, that's the like admiral shares. So you get like a lower expense ratio. There's even one above that, but that's exclusive for institutions. So other big institutions, they have to put in at least $1 million, but you can only have access to those if you're an institution, and that has an even less expense ratio, so you pay less money.
Yeah,
Every
and
time you
Vivi
get
could
a
add
and stuff. So
Vivi could, that's a big part of every company is you want to, trademark your stuff. Vivi could be adding things that they keep trademarking or protecting, right? So maybe the base thing of Cavernous and the rights, or anyone can do that, but doesn't mean they're going to have the rights to any of the IP. So even if a bunch of people have like their version of Vivi-verse, it's going to be pretty different, likely, not even counting the fact that they have all the IP in the Vivi-verse, and you can't take that over, likely to just throw it in whatever other company. Um, but yeah, I think, again, like, just giving the people the tools, let them run with it. It sounds like the Vaultaholics are already doing some pretty nutty stuff, and there's just like addicted. I've been in a couple of spaces where the Vaultaholics are like, dude, I haven't slept in 2 days. I'm just like, I
jeez.
cannot get out of the Vivi-verse. It is so addicting. And to hear
Yeah.
those guys saying that is really powerful, because they were some of the biggest critics for a long time, right? And I think Vivi did the right
Yeah.
thing of giving like some of those guys early access, because they're going to be building some insane things that people wouldn't even
Yeah,
dream of.
they're going to be their best promoters of it, and get people excited, get those creative juices flowing for those
Well, I think
people.
too,
So
I think too, some people, will say, even with the Vivi-verse, I don't care about it. I'm never going to be in there. I'm not a VR guy. I'm not an AR guy. Like, I don't care about that stuff. It's okay if you don't, but other people, not only will other people do it, the youth care about it a lot. They're obsessed with Fortnite,
mhm.
video games, and digital worlds. And also the companies, right? If you can say you can build an environment or an experience, like whether it's Disney or a singer or a musician, like, if you can do that and there's a way to to make money off it or promote it, like, they're gonna eat that up. Like, they're gonna love that. I mean, we already saw during was it Fortnite did a concert for some big musicians, and they had like insane amounts of people joining these digital concerts, made ungodly amounts of money, and they did it
Yeah.
from their home. They didn't have to go anywhere. So like, how
Yep.
are they not going to bite on that? They're going to love it.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time before Vivi does exclusive drops that tune into their decon live streams, or to this. They're going to do a AR or whatever, like a VR version um,
Yeah, and that's one of the things
of
you
it.
have to kind of be careful as a person, because you can say, "Well, I don't care about that." It's like, yeah, but there other people do, and just because you don't care about it doesn't mean it's not going to go up in value, or it's not going to be adopted, or there's a lot of people who don't care about Omi at all. It's like, well, that's great that you don't care, but it doesn't mean the token isn't good, or it's not going to do. I mean, the token could be the thing that multiplies more than the collectibles. We don't know. So
Mhm.
it's good to kind of reflect on, like I like to say, zoom out and be objective. Look at everything, not just like, here's what I
Yeah.
like, here's what I think is cool. It's like, well, that's great, but you're one person, and a lot of people have different experiences and different. I think people that collect certain things are completely wasting their money, but there's lots of people that are more than willing to put a lot of money into things that you would call silly, whether it's
Yep.
expensive cars or watches or whatever, rare little figurines or whatever it is. People think that is the biggest waste of money, but guess what? There's a lot of people that spend a lot of money on things that they just like, right?
Yep. I think the classic example is like NASCAR, right? Where people are like, well, I don't care about NASCAR. It's like, there's a whole lot of people in the US that like, NASCAR. It's like, just because
Yeah.
you don't like it doesn't mean no one else does, or that no one's going to pay a lot of
Yeah,
money
maybe
for
there's not
this
the
or
market
that
for it.
related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
So,
with movies, right? You'll see a movie and you think it's terrible, and it like broke all these records. Like, well,
mhm.
the movie wasn't for you, then it's for other people.
Yeah. We'll probably start ending the stream here in a little bit, but is there anything else you wanted to talk about, whether it's like Omi related or just kind of like a general thing you wanted to
Let me
kind of
look at my
talk
notes
about?
here. We talked about a lot of it. I think one of the big things I think that's going to be coming up that's important is that Vivi has said that Q4 is the year of deliverables. So we don't have a whole lot of time left in the year before we're probably going to get some of these bigger things knocked out by Vivi.
Mhm.
Hopefully Vivi-verse beta and other catalysts. Not to mention that I think that, again, it's easy to get stuck in the day-to-day stuff of like, this drop, is it profitable, and this timeline, and maybe this. It's like, well, zoom out a little bit, because if you want to make some plays, think about your strategy making plays, because we all know Vivi-verse beta will be rolled out to everyone eventually. We know they're going to drop more grails. We know that exchanges are coming. We know that utility is coming. We know that gold. I mean, there's a lot of things we know that are coming for sure, like 99% sure, 100% sure. So like start, adjusting your game plan and taking advantage of that. You don't want to be the guy that's like, well, I wasn't ready. I didn't know. It's like, you did know. Everybody knew.
Mhm.
Like, have a plan. Don't sit on the sidelines and then, you're distracted by, the little, the things in front of you are distracting you versus like the bigger picture. Because a year from now is going to be a year from now, and either you can say, I got what I wanted. I had a plan, I had a strategy, I'm positioned well, or you can be like, oh, I didn't know, I wasn't ready, and this and that. And they should have just like, well, you had all the time in the world, so you can't sit
Yeah.
on your hands for too long, because I think that a lot of things are coming that people aren't even. There's a lot of catalysts that I see from other companies and businesses, that's how I evaluate Vivi the way I see it. Everything from Dan to like all the free marketing they're going to get. Like the free marketing for Vivi is going to be unbelievable, and for Omi, free marketing, not paying random influencers, or not paying all these people to shit, like actual real boots on the ground, word of mouth, influencers, YouTubers, just like the free marketing is going to be unbelievable once things start moving. Um, and then, like I said, all these big catalysts are coming. We know they're coming. So just be aware of that, right? Don't sit on your hands too long, then complain later. Like, what's coming down the road. And guess what? There's a lot of things that you're not even aware of that are coming down the road. So if you believe in this, and if you have some expendable income and you want to be part of it, then start making moves.
Yep. And then right here, Dan says, or sorry, let me go back. Pawn says purchase 100 million. Jeez, that'll be a lot of money. 10 million Omi tokens a few days ago. This is staking for the app. Points is genius. Yeah, I like it. I know some people are upset in the community that basically kind of these people that are outside of Vivi are like throwing Omi in, and it's kind of flipping the whole MCP point system like on its head. Because like I said, like, my vault value is worth a little under like $5,000. But if I bought $5,000 worth of Omi and I put it on the app, like I would instantly be higher than I am now. I'd actually probably have about 3 or 4 times more MCP points if I just bought Omi versus like actually buying collectibles on the app. And I have a good amount of like rare comics, and I've bought a handful of things just for the sake of like MCP points. So it's not like I'm only buying like expensive stuff or whatever, and I'm like not taking into consideration at all like my MCP points. But I don't mind it too much. Do I think it's a little high? Probably. I'd rather see them just increase the points that collectibles give you rather than like lower down the MCP points you get from staking Omi. Like I don't want to take away from the Omi holders. I'd rather just boost everyone up, because people that have Omi on the app probably have collectibles too. So
yeah, and I think too that they want that synergy, right? That's why they removed the word OUP. Now it's just kind of part of the whole loyalty program thing, whatever. And I think that there's just going to be multiple ways to do it. Now I understand how some people are saying, I could have bought nothing and put in a good chunk of Omi, and now I'm a master collector instantly. Like that doesn't seem like it makes sense. But I think that I do have enough faith that they're going to, and they've told us, right, they're going to constantly be reassessing and updating and tweaking the whole thing, whether it's Omi rewards, MCP points, how the drops are done, like the whole thing is going to be constantly under evaluation. So there will be a time where maybe it's a little unbalanced or unfair or whatever, but you kind of have to have some faith, if you believe in it, that they will find a way to make it right by everybody. Maybe you have to own a certain amount of collectibles or sets to be master collector. Maybe they change the category filters in some way where it's not just so based on Omi. But I think Vivi knows that bringing in the whole crypto heads, the whole crypto side from Omi is going to bring an insane amount of attention and money. There's so much money in crypto that's not even participating in Vivi aside from Omi. That's bringing that whole catalyst in is going to be a big deal. When you can buy Omi on the app, when you can buy Omi at NFT, when you can maybe gamble Omi or spend Omi on different things in the show. Like there's going to be so many ways to not only burn Omi, but spend Omi. That whole crypto world of people are going to kind of be brought into it, and maybe make them, become more collectors as well. But yeah, I think there's just a lot of things to be excited about, whether you just collect on the app or you just collect Omi or do a little bit of both. I mean, it's like, you have to have thick skin, but also know yourself. And like I always say, just have a plan, whether it's DCA or trying to time the bot, like whatever it is, like just have a plan and, don't overinvest. I do think some very red days could likely come ahead for Bitcoin and the bigger markets. Does that mean that Omi's going to follow? Omi's in its own little bubble, like its own little protected ecosystem. So maybe Omi's not affected as much. Maybe Omi's affected even more. Like who knows, right? But at least have a plan. Always have some cash ready, because if Omi tanks again, maybe there's your chance to stock up again, right? But if Omi doesn't tank, maybe you can DC it. Like who knows, right? But I do think that, don't FOMO, don't rush, just have your plan and be prepared for red days, but also, have a plan and just in case, because no one expected Omi to smash through, 001 and stay there. It pulled back, it went back up again. Like Omi's kind of an anomaly in a lot of ways. The TA does not work like it traditionally does on other tokens. So I'm not trying to make anyone FOMO into it. I've been buying it, pretty heavily, especially when it's on the 0005s and 6s. But I would love to see a pullback myself. But I also think that you just have to have a goal. So if your goals don't really sell too much before 2, 3, 4 years, then you can kind of rest easy at night if it goes up or down any direction. But if your goal is to like time the bottom and stack, like you're just going to stress yourself out. Like you probably regret it. So, as they say, what do they say? Prepare for the worst, or no, expect. What is it? Prepare for the worst, expect the best, kind of thing.
Yeah, or it's like something like that. I don't. There's a few different like quotes that are similar to that.
Prepare for the worst, hope for the best.
Yeah, that's what it is. Let's see here. Great advice, guys. Thanks, Woody. JKRB says, I hope Vivi will not nerf MCP when I stack my collectibles. I hope they don't. I hope they just don't nerf anything. If anything, just make the collectibles give more points and then adjust the points. Because as of right now, we still have no idea how much stuff costs. Like all the whole like buying extra tickets or all more opportunities or whatever. Like we have no idea what anything costs. Like we're accumulating points, and I have no idea if me getting, I don't know, I'm looking at my thing now. If me getting 280 points is a lot, is that enough to get like have me buy an extra ticket or like a chance like once a month? Or is that like enough to be like, okay, now I can have like 7 more chances for drops, to get more of them or whatever it is? Like we just don't know just yet.
Yeah, we have no idea. And I think what some people are kind of being turned off by is the fact that like, well, all these MCP points from all these people over like months and months and years. That's true, but I think what's going to be really important later is your daily MCP, because once those old MCP eventually get used up or burned out or whatever, like your daily MCP is going to matter. And I'm pretty sure Vivi's going to make sure that they do like either exclusive drops or special drops, or they're going to find a way to make it important to have, some daily MCP for whatever reason.
Yeah, because I think they said
good, and then we haven't even had any real competition or like leaderboards. I mean, people are going to go nuts when there's like, a way to have some healthy competition on the app.
Yeah, because Vivi said, I think, is it every 3 months or 6 months that like you lose like not only but like MCP points, they should like roll off. I don't think that's gonna
6 months, but
6 months. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen until they actually like roll out the system where you can spend points. But I think from that day, they're gonna say, all right, all of you guys that have massive stacks of MCP points, you have 6 months to spend that. And then it's a rolling 6 months after that. So it's like the first 6 months might just go nuts and kind of like really skew the results of like people buying this or buying like, an extra 500 tickets to like get more of this or whatever it is. Right. But after the 6 months, like everyone's on even playing ground. Like no more 2.5 years worth of MC accumulated points. At that point, it's like, it's just down to your daily MCP points and like how much you actually collect.
Yeah, and I do think that they're going to incentivize it with, stuff in the Vivi-verse or showroom or exclusive Vivi stuff. That's the cool thing with the VVIP, like the logos, is they can do whatever they want with that, right? And they can drop Vivi exclusive stuff and really do whatever their hearts desire.
Yeah, Pon says here, we'll probably finish up these last little comments and then we'll hop off the stream. So Pon100X says you still have to buy a lot of collectibles to be master. The 100 million does limit you. It does limit you, but I will say like I'm diamond, or I was diamond 1 at one point, like at 300 points. Like 10 million Omi does cap you, but 10 million Omi still immediately puts you, I think, in the top like 0.1% of like, user, maybe it's a bit lower now or higher technically, because I think there's actually quite a few people, I think a little bit more than people realize, people that put in like 10 million Omi to stake. But like anyone that put that in instantly became master collector, whether you own literally nothing or you own a lot of stuff already. So do I think it's a little bit high? Yes. But like I said, to make up for it, I'd rather just see them. All right, by the way, all these MCP values for collectibles and comics, we're just going to double them to kind of make it, kind of close that gap a bit. G Metal says, "What up, vibes? You ready for the red? Are you ready for the Hulk airdrop? How many sets you got? If you're just talking total sets, I mean, I have 19. But if you're talking like Hulk sets, I have none right now. The only thing I'm missing is the Planet Hulk, and he's about 182 right now. So, I mean, could I just degen into it and just buy it? I could. I'm really kind of waiting to see what the secret rare airdrop looks like. But I know like when that happens, I need to make a move probably within about 30 seconds of like, I need to be like glued to my phone because if it looks amazing, like Planet Hulk is going to probably go up to like 220, like instantly. But if I don't, or if I am pretty quick on, I can maybe buy it or flip it. Or if it just looks terrible for whatever reason, Planet Hulk could maybe pull back to like, 140, 150 or whatever. Who knows?
Well, the exciting thing too on the airdrops, right, is that you're getting a random mint. So that's kind of part of the exciting factor is maybe you get a low mint or maybe you get the year mint or, any special mint now is like a multiplier, like 4, 5, 10x of what you would have got just by flooring it. So that's kind of part of the fun of the airdrops because you don't just get the item, but you're getting a mint that could be, kind of a little lotto ticket.
Yeah. Stan says, are you guys going for the drop tomorrow? What is the drop tomorrow again?
It's the what's it called? The Loki
Miss Minutes. Yeah, Miss Minutes. I'm probably gonna pass. I probably would have gone for this if this thing was like 700 mints or 800 mints. I might have basically half the mints. I probably would have gone for it. It is 30 gems.
It's pretty cheap. Secret rare, single set. If you want to gamble for a mint number, maybe not a bad idea because I don't think it's going to go down to like $15 or something. But if you just want it, you might be better off waiting and buy it for like $20, $25 later.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to go about that low. Because if we look at the, I know we said we're going to try and end it soon, but the cryo can, I know they're still in the store, but that's like $32. That's a secret rare of, like I said, this thing went down to like 27 gems at one point, very briefly. And then it sold. But like I'm looking at some SRs and I'm like, man, these SRs are cheap on the market. So with Miss Minutes, she's in the Loki show, but I don't know. I'm not too bullish on the idea of. Let's see.
Yeah, for $30, it just depends on your, if that's cheap enough to gamble on a low mint or a special mint, then maybe. But I would not be surprised at all if it's below retail very quickly after the drop. And that whole gambling aspect is kind of what helps sell out a lot of drops.
Yeah, right now I'm looking at secret rares under 30 gems. There's like the Grade School Guernica, the Young Warhol, MODOK. Like I would argue MODOK is more popular. I don't know how many mints he is. I'd argue like MODOK's probably more popular than Miss Minutes, even though he looked terrible in the movie. Regardless. Let's see here. We already went by that. Remember, MCP will reset after 6 months. Yep, we just talked about that. So once the timer starts, they'll need to release good stuff for them to use. Yeah, I just hope Vivi doesn't jump the gun. And within that first 6 months, they make some drastic changes like, all right, okay, actually, we're going to increase the price of this and blah, blah. And then after that, it's like, well, now it's more expensive for everyone. But now, like, only the whales can, like, buy it, Maybe they'll increase prices initially. Maybe prices will be pretty high the first 6 months, and then they'll like pull them back once those massive reserves of literally years of OMI kind of get used up. Ryan says, hi. Thanks for stopping by, dude. Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to end the stream here in a little bit. I've been streaming for a little over 2.5 hours now. I know Pixel Trader's been here for about 2 hours as well, so probably going to tie it up here. I put in $150 worth of OMI before the pump, and it got me 90 extra MCP points. That's pretty good. I mean, for $150 worth of OMI, I mean, that's for how much like my like vault value thing or whatever it's worth. And you got basically a third of the amount of points that I have right now. I mean, that's not bad. Like I just bought an AF15 for $300 and that thing gave me half an MCP point.
Is this what maybe like 200,000 OMI roughly before the pump? 'Cause I think it was around 0007, 0075 right before the article in the pump.
Yeah, that's not bad. So I have 2 Hulk sets and an extra Planet Hulk to sell after the announcement. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, that kind of sounds like what Pixel Trader has. He has 2 sets of the Hulks too. He just mentioned earlier in the stream. What was that website vibes? Which one? Well, there's a few of them. I'll tell you guys all of them right now, real quick. So there's VMate. So it's just VEMAT. I'm not a huge fan of this platform yet. I still notice some of the charts are a bit inaccurate. You cannot really get like a good look on historics, just like looking at the history of it. And then you also can't see like what are the highs and lows of the day. Like this front page just looks like it's just a random amalgamation of just collectibles. Like I don't know if these were recently sold, but like you have this one, it's like up 15%, that's down 2%. Like this is up 0%. Like I don't know what's going on this front page. If you set lists, I didn't show this one at all, but this is a good website to use to basically just see how much MCP points are worth, whether it's as a whole set, per collectible, for comics. So this is the website I use. I think this is the website pretty much everyone uses to figure out like, all right, I feel like spending some money and I want to, invest in some MCP points. What's the best thing to get? Dollar for gem. And this one, my NFT tracker, I love this website. I still haven't even created an account. I'm not sure what the benefits are for creating an account, but on this website, the charts are pretty accurate. You can organize everything by common, uncommon, rare. Comics or collectibles. You can organize it by floor price, by the 24-hour trend, by release date, by all-time highs or all-time lows. Like that's the part I like about this website. So yeah, so it's called My NFT Tracker. It's like all one word.
Holy crap! Omi just hit $1.
Sure. Omi's down.
No, never mind. It's back down.
Yeah, 0.8. Omi's back down to 0.8.
Well, think about that top. What's the top wallet now? Someone passed up Dr. Profit, like Bozanga or something, Bozanga, something like that. I forgot the name.
A lot of people think that's like a company, right? And not
rumor is that could be like not an individual, but a group of people or maybe a company. Just they don't have KYB yet, so they're just using an actual individual account to collect a bunch of stuff, and then in the future, we're gonna have, maybe big money wants to come in, whether it's a corporation or a hedge fund or just individual whales, whatever. So that top 10 slot is going to get more and more competitive. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah. I just can't say it enough, but like I just love this website. One of my favorite things is like, all right, if you want to go to comics and then look at rare or like ultra rare comics, and you're like, all right, I want to look at like ultra rare comics under $20. You can see them all right here. And that's something so far that you can't do with any other like charting website that I've been able to find. I will say the prices on these aren't like currently they're not 100% accurate in the sense of like I'm not sure if like today's price is up to date, but the prices of like since it started has been pretty accurate, at least more accurate than VMate. All right, let me run through these comments and then we'll get off. I already did that. What's that website? So I think I already kind of went through them all. Did you see adjustments made by the team starting season 1? Was that what you were talking about earlier? Like they made changes or like updates to season 1 stuff? Did you see that adjustments?
Like, you mean collectibles? I forgot. I think there's one or maybe two collectibles that Vivi did change. I think Randy was talking about it. I forgot what they tweaked about the collectible, but it was just like a minor tweak.
So, season 1, Big A says that's literally how much I get for $23,000 vault value, 145 per day. That's why I said I'm like, dude, $150 to get that much MCP is not bad. That's actually a fantastic deal.
Well, I think Big A's vault's different because he has a secret rare miles, and that's a big chunk of one item.
His vault value is
people mean because some people like if you have 50 whatever Todds and partners, you don't get nearly as much as someone who bought like 20 rare comic books that are worth like $6 a pop or whatever.
Yeah, and that's the hard part, right? Is like master collector means something different to me, to you, to Vivi, to a bunch of different people. Like this master collector meaning you collect a bunch of one thing, or do you collect a little bit of everything, or you collect low mints, or do you collect collectibles that are low mint size? So it's like, all right, this thing only has 150 mints and I own one. Am I a master collector? Should I get more bonus points? I'm not too sure. I think with things with like low mints, like the price is already built in, like self-made, low mints, look cool looking collectible. It's super expensive, right? So I think it's already kind of worked in there. I don't think we need to I think we also need to keep like the MCP program like simple. We cannot have 47 different levers and variables. Like it's like, all right, here's comics, here's collectibles. You get a bit extra for low mints. You get a one-time benefit for a set, and that's kind of it. Rather than, all right, well, if it's this, but if like the collectibles have less than 500 mints, and then you get this bonus and then that bonus, and like it's just like too much. I think they need to keep it simple. So Invisible Digital says, sold my Hulk set. Have a feeling it's going to be a Thanos situation again. Sold at top prices and keep FA Hulk and collecting the Avengers animated characters. Honestly, that's a plan that I'm kind of contemplating right now. I'm in the green still with Red Hulk. Unfortunately, he literally went down by 50%. He was at like 200 at one point. I bought him at 70, so I'm still in the profit if I wanted to sell him. I'm just kind of seeing how this airdrop plays out, or like what it is. I meant season 1 or MCP season 1. We are in season 0. Adjustments? No, I haven't. So I'll have to look into that. Usually Randy has a lot of that kind of info, so I'll have to check out his stuff. So, all right, guys, we're gonna hop off right now. Pixel Trader, is there anything else you kind of want to say or mention before we hop off?
No, I guess I would just say, for those people who have kind of, withstood the lows, and whether you just held on to your stuff or you bought the dips, feel good about that, because there are times you should celebrate. We're not like over the hill yet and top of the mountain or anything, but you got to celebrate the little wins for sure. And whether you have Omi or collectibles, you're seeing progress with the team, you're seeing progress with the token. So feel good about that. And like I said, just have a plan, right? Because I do think we're going to see, historically Bitcoin does not do well in the months coming up. Like historically it does not do well at all. So like don't be surprised if Bitcoin pulls everything down. But that's why it's good to have a plan and have some conviction, because if Bitcoin goes down and everything else gets pulled down, great, you stick to your plan. You have a system ready, ready to execute. And if it doesn't go down, it stays flat or goes up or whatever, anything could happen, right? You have a plan for that, right? So in that case, you don't have to stress about every little move and percentage of market and collectibles, and you're freaking out. Like, enjoy the process and have fun. This is still super, super early days. Celebrate the little wins, like I said, and just know yourself. Are you in this for 5 years plus? Are you playing the long game and you think this is a big part of the future? Or are you in this, to make some money in 6 months and get out, right? Or whatever, or 6 days and get out. So just have a plan. That's all I can say. Don't overinvest, have a plan, and just kind of enjoy the process. But there's a lot of good things to be excited about, and there's a lot of like little wins that we have right now. So this is a good time to be in the space, I believe.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. So don't forget, any of you guys in Web3, please revisit your security. Like change your passwords, do whatever you need to do. Maybe like create another wallet, whatever it is. I got scammed about a month ago. So if you guys haven't thought about security or anything like that with your like Web3 wallets, like I would revisit it, or at least like contemplate it. And also make sure you double and triple check your listing so you don't screw yourself over. I will say this, the Real Uncommon podcast is on right now. So I want you guys to stop by there. It's D and Hinano. If you guys want to stop by there, I'm going to go and put a link to the stream right now. I don't know if they just started the stream, but they're doing some like giveaways on there as well. So if you guys want to go by there and hang out and give some support to the Hawaii VV fam out there. So cool, guys. Hope you guys take care, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.